Oh my God. Do you know how to say dinosaurs aren't real in Thai? I don't want to get you kicked out of the country. This is a good place for you.
Dinosaur ไม่มีจริง
Dinosaur ไม่มีจริง ไม่มีจริง
ไม่ได้ถ่ายรูปเนาะที่เห็นคุณพุทธหันสามันรอต้อนรับน้องๆอยู่แล้วนะคะรถท้าค่ะเจ้าของบินหมายเลข1423ค่ะรบกวนมารับของนะคะที่ฝากไว้ที่จุดฝากรับฝากของนะคะเกือบแล้วมารับเรียบร้อยแล้วนะคะตอนนี้ค่ะช่วงสุดท้ายจริงๆแล้วนะใครยังไม่ได้ถ่ายรูปกับพี่ๆแก๊งไทยเราปวนหันสาค่ะเจอเลยค่ะรีบมาจากแค่ปีละครั้งเอง
You made it. It's the finish.
Oh right, the dino run. Because dinosaurs are known for running.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with the fact that there's a whole bunch of kids here.
Running and
right?
yes.
Children and dinosaurs must go together.
Yes.
All other animals are for all ages,
Yeah.
but dinosaurs are for children, just like
Yeah.
space.
Yes. Yeah, this is no coincidence, Eric, that we came on this day. It's too cute. I just had a friend who commented on something the other day on Facebook about dinosaurs would have fallen off the planet. And so I posted him dinosaurs aren't real. And then he wrote back about half an hour later and he was like, holy shit, dinosaurs aren't real. Because he watched your little doco.
Shouldn't be that big of a revelation that something that you've never seen for yourself, nor have you ever seen actual physical evidence for, doesn't exist.
But we all,
that should be the default position.
I felt like I had because my fucking whole childhood was spent in museums looking at dinosaur bones.
Yeah.
Every time we went anywhere it was to a museum to see the dinosaur bones, I guess because museums are free. And I was always bored out of my brain.
Well, that's another one that they always bring the kids to is
Yeah.
the Dinosaur Museum, the Natural History Museum. We had the Dinosaur Planet we just went to, and now we've got the Dino Fun Run, all associating children with dinosaurs.
And maybe Thailand's been a bit behind the 8 ball on their brainwashing. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, they're not as deep into it when you explain some of the flat Earth proofs to Thai people and debunk some of the ball Earth proofs. They don't actually, it doesn't take more than 10 or 15 minutes to get through the evidence that they thought they had.
Yeah.
Whereas with the average Westerner, it might take hours and hours of diligent conversation, questioning back and forth before the guy budges.
If anyone's keen to do that.
Yeah, right.
Most people aren't.
Well, here they're not too keen to do it either. So
right. Yeah.
It's no different in that sense. It's only different in the sense that they haven't received they don't know what a Foucault pendulum is.
Yes.
They've never heard of that. So stuff like that,
they probably haven't been drilled by Carl Sagan as hard as we were in the West.
Right, they haven't watched as many NASA documentaries or Neil deGrasse Tyson shows.
I know when I get home, if my parents are still talking to me, my dad will be like, the Carl Sagan's going to be his first one, the shadows, the sticks.
Yeah.
And because I remember watching that Carl Sagan episode as a kid with my dad, where he does the shadows on the flat cardboard of the obelisk.
Right.
And then, I feel like a swim, but I don't want the camera to go in.
Yeah,
Eratosthenes proof.
Right. Proving that the Earth is curved by putting 2 sticks somewhere and seeing that the shadows go in opposite directions.
Yeah. Only works if
it only works with their
sun 93 million miles away.
Right. But in reality, if there's a local sun source, a local light source, which you can try, by yourself with a flashlight in a dark room, you can see that that's exactly what would happen. Set up 2 obelisks yourself. The shadows are going to go to opposite sides.
Yeah.
It has absolutely nothing to do with
the curvature of the base.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember watching Carl Sagan bend that cardboard as a kid and show the shadows move, and me being like, wow, wow. I was fully convinced the Earth was a sphere.
That's all it takes is a few straw men,
Yes.
a few CGI pictures,
Yeah,
a few fisheye lens high altitude shots.
yeah.
That's about it. A couple rockets, real rockets, but never actually going anywhere except for in the Bermuda Triangle.
I had someone the other day post, the 1947 Sputnik photos of Earth.
Yeah.
And there's sort of the mildest curve you can see.
Yeah.
And they're like, see, that's before NASA even existed. It's like, you don't understand. It's 500 years of obfuscation and lies. It's not just this century,
Right.
last century.
It's a concerted effort for that amount of time too. So
Absolutely.
It's not like they wouldn't have thought to fake photographs at that time, or that
Coordinated.
it's impossible to fake photographs. As long as there's been photographs or
That
video,
would've- yeah.
it's possible to fake photographs and video. It's not something that just came about with computer technology or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah, it makes me wonder if the Eratosthenes guy ever really even existed, or if he's just a myth made up.
Right?
Yeah.
Hard to know anything before the current age.
It is.
We don't have to take it on faith either. Just
Yeah.
Because, it's in a book somewhere, or some
Authorities
historian
told
said
us.
it, some authority said it. Doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean it's not true, but there's nothing wrong with being open and skeptical.
Yeah.
That's what people should take away from all of this.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a hammered down position about every subject at every moment in your life.
Yeah.
You're an evolving being existing in time. So at any point that you say, oh, I know this for a fact 100% and my position on whatever isn't ever going to change, you just stunted your own personal evolution.
Yeah.
Whereas you could just stay in a space of constant figuring things out and look at it like, on every issue, this is my current position. This is how I currently feel.
Yeah. And you
Should
shouldn't
always-
lose friends over it if you really like your friend.
Sure. And that's what's scientific. Science is never set in stone, finished, all done. Here's the answer.
Exactly.
So people
It's
that
never
are
settled
obsessed with
science.
science and think science is the end-all be-all, well, if you're truly using the scientific method, then you should never be satisfied with whatever answer, conclusion that somebody's come to, and should be finding further experimentation to either confirm, deny, or further the understanding that
That
we
you
currently
have.
have. Yeah.
And what do you think? Can you predict what your next revelation might be?
No, I'm not
Bigger
psychic.
than flat Earth?
Not a psychic, unfortunately. I have had prophetic dreams, though, which is kind of an odd thing.
Oh,
Like,
fuck, I think I have too. But I also just have a lot of fantasies.
I've dreamt like very specific situations in my life that happen
Come
several
true.
days or weeks later.
Yeah, I think we all have the ability to pick up on especially danger, death, or love. Anything that really excites or damns you.
Yeah.
You're going to make me go through here again, Eric.
I didn't mean to.
Let's do the run. Let's run it. Oh, there's another dinosaur. This man's got one on his head. It's a chicken, it's a dinosaur. Well, chickens and dinosaurs are related, right? Feathered dinosaurs, they've gone off that idea. Did you notice? There's a
First
few.
the chicken or the egg?
Can we ride these?
No, it says not to touch it.
Oh, look how good your tie is. Don't touch the fucking dinosaurs. I'm glad they have
They're for
those.
propaganda purposes only.
Yeah.
Don't play with them.
Can I just pretend? Dinosaur paraphernalia? Do you need some bath toys? Oh, squishy. You could cuddle that in bed.
Yeah. This
Cool.
definitely existed.
Yeah, that one definitely existed. These two, could they have
They
mated?
used to fight. Let's see if they could mate. Nope.
There's a hole. There's a hole. You can stick a finger in that one. Oh, 16. Maybe that's the only way.
Probably the only way they could make it happen.
But that's not going to propagate the rest of the dinosaurs.
That's gonna make them not want to kill themselves. About it.
So they'll live out their one life, but they wouldn't have loved. Maybe that's why dinosaurs extincted.
That's it.
Yeah.
They 69'd each other out of existence.
What a way to go. Oh, it was such a relief when I saw your Masonic Big Bang Evolution is a Masonic, Freemasonic lie video. I must have watched that 100 times. And I still don't have the facts at the tip of my tongue, all of them. That's what I find frustrating about talking to people.
Right.
I know why I know what I know, but I can't immediately bring up all of the evidences off the top of my head. But in a few years I'll be formidable.
Right.
I know why I know what I know though, which is nice.
Yeah, it's really hard to keep all the facts and figures and
Yeah.
timelines and names.
And it's no fun to
straight.
get stuff wrong because then
Right, and they'll call you up on it.
Yeah.
Say your whole argument's false just
Yeah.
because your memory of every single thing you've researched over years of time isn't 100% perfect. And of course they won't take the time themselves to look into. You could even tell them exactly where the information can be found.
Yeah.
So I just can't remember.
They're
it
not
exactly.
interested.
No, they're not going to look into
I
it. or
know.
anything, so it's lost. And even if you can remember it, it's no guarantee that they're going to budge on their position.
yeah. The thing that made me a full-blown coincidence realist was the Port Arthur massacre in Australia.
Yeah.
It took 5 or 6 years after it happened for me to meet a retired policeman who was going around Australia telling people this was a government-sponsored event and they did it to change gun laws. It took me at least a year to convince myself he was even speaking truth. And now I'm watching, that was in 2003 or 4. And now I'm watching 15 years later the whole world calling for gun control.
Right.
Gun control, we've got to get rid of the guns.
And a new school shooting
Yeah.
every month. Just
And they're all
on track.
so dodgy.
Yeah.
The latest one in Florida doesn't look it real either.
No.
Have you been looking at it?
Evidence on IFERS of the
Good.
new one. Lots of seeming crisis actors.
Yeah.
A mother that looks like she's younger than the son. A bunch of smiling, the usual smiling
the
about
interviews,
the dead people.
yeah.
They can't stop themselves.
Stooping delight,
That's
yeah.
it, a stooping delight.
And
when you're
people will
acting.
go to these extremes to explain why it is, to stay fooled.
Right.
To argue to stay fooled.
It's such a big thing when you accept some of these realities. You're now accepting the fact that daddy doesn't love you, the government isn't your best friend, and there's actually a scary control grid, a matrix or whatever you want to call it. There's this whole fake rainbow world that you've been living in, and just like in the Matrix, when he steps out of it, the world just looks totally different. It's run by psychopathic robots or something.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what's happening here.
And those psychopathic robots are our family and friends.
Right, and that's
Who are
Agent
employed.
Smith.
Yeah.
Agent Smith can become any person at any time, and that's like when you bring up some of these subjects, your friends suddenly turn into Agent Smith. They're not your friend anymore. They have all these pre-programmed
Responses.
answers. Yeah, and they're just like Agent Smith. He's the same person repeating himself in different people.
How he's been controlled to think.
So they're just running that program.
I see that when I saw that in myself first with the flat earth, like the earth's a ball, the moon's a ball, why wouldn't the earth be a ball? The sun's a ball.
Yeah.
And so that's what made me have to look. I saw my cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
I felt so... David Icke wrote to me and said I was his worst decision of that year. Yeah. I wrote...
This is after everything happened. He wrote to you.
Well, after it, I left in around January of 2014. And then I got back to Australia, and around February, April or something, I wrote to David. And said, look, I hear that your manager, Sean, has just stolen the station from you and kicked you off your own station, because he had. Did you hear about that? David Icke started the People's Voice, and then at the end, Sean, his manager from BBC, Disney, Big Brother, the guy who controlled the sale of all his books, organised his website and everything, who ran the People's Voice, who stole £2 million, basically, kicked David off the People's Voice. He still let Richie Allen have his show, and Richie would occasionally invite Dave in, but Dave had the People's Voice taken from him. And it wouldn't have even started if Dave's name wasn't attached.
I thought Dave was the head of it.
He was the head of it.
Well, he's like this.
He's under his manager. That's when I realised this guy's controlled opposition.
Right.
And what were we talking about, Sean?
I don't know, but you told me previously the story about how you sent him 12 letters.
Yeah, I worked really hard to get that gig at that TV station or internet station. I sent 12 letters over 3 months and finally got it. I sent 12 letters, they never wrote back, then I bought a ticket to England, wrote 3 more letters, and then they wrote and said, hey, you sound fun, come along and we'll give you pretty much whatever show you want. So that's how that worked out, and that was nice. So I wrote to Dave in about April, the year after that my show had been on, in the start of the end of December and January of 2014. And I wrote to Dave in about the April or May when I got back to Australia and said, I just heard Sean, your manager, has stolen the station off you, and I'm sorry, and if you ever need a friend, I'm here, kind of thing. And he wrote back and said, the only decision I regret about the whole last year is employing you. And maybe it was because of the smell of piss under his car.
That was a funny story. He said he wasn't paying you for most of the time, so you were like living in some sort of trailer or something.
I was living in a really cool van which had a gas heater, thank God, because it was London winter. There was almost snow outside the van. And so at night, when I didn't want to go out into the streets and piss or whatever, I only shat once in the van, okay? That was in 2 plastic bags. I double bagged it. And that was because it was an emergency. That was in 3 months, Eric. I'm pretty organised. But I used to pour my wee down the sink of the van at night, and then it would be dry by morning, but I'm sure it made the whole parking lot smell like Elephant Park at the zoo. And David's, unfortunately, his parking spot was next to my van. So I think that might have subconsciously turned him off me being a nice person.
Or consciously.
Yeah. But he knew that I was not going to bow to anyone's direction as well, and that scared him, I think I realised. But I do think he knows he's being controlled. I think he acts like a doddery old man for a reason. And then Ken O'Keefe, that was another issue altogether. He was one of my big heroes. I thought he was one of the greatest orators of our times. He's a very strong, macho, ex-military, which is so important for people to have respect. When you watch someone who was in the system come out, they're so much more damning than, like you say, some yoga teacher in Thailand. You don't have the same kind of reach as even a Joe Rogan, because they've got that, I was in the military. Was Joe Rogan in the military?
I don't think he was in the military, but
Right.
he's got plenty of Hollywood connections and everything. But he's in the comedy scene, and then he's in UFC, so he's got his fingers in a bunch of different popular worlds.
Yeah, I don't know why I got the military feeling about him. I must have confused him with Kokesh.
he's got military guys on his show. Right
Yeah.
Hunting, he's a hunter. He's got
Right.
a bunch of hunters on his show, so it's to that kind of machismo.
Yeah, yeah.
Big meat eater.
Yeah,
Talks about meat eating.
yeah. He's trying to be a hero. He's trying to be a big man, but unfortunately, he got bent over badly, and it's obvious to everyone. And it's even, fuck, how
He
great.
wears the round earth
Yeah.
shirt and he wears the NASA jumpsuit.
Did you see that meltdown Eddie made him have one day when Eddie was like, "You haven't looked into it, you haven't researched it." He's like, "Fucking hell, Eddie! There's all the scientists that have ever lived don't mean nothing, and it could have been kind of been lying." And Eddie's like,
Look into it.
"Yeah, gotta look into it. You haven't researched it." I really still like Eddie. I don't know if he's done, if anyone's done anything to him, or if I think he's the kind of person that won't compromise. I have a feeling he's the kind of person like you who's not going to bend, who'd die before dishonor.
I haven't seen anything to make me think otherwise.
No.
His close connections in LA, the Hollywood scene there, makes me wonder.
Yeah.
You know,
But he's sort
but
of been
him himself
he's
is-
been working on that since he was a kid. Like
Right.
he went there to become famous, to
Yeah.
become a rock star.
Absolutely.
I don't begrudge anyone wanting to get into anything.
Sure. I wouldn't
And-
begrudge Joe, but I mean,
No.
I love Joe, especially back when he was talking about the moon landing
too,
hoax. I
yeah.
mean, I was a Joe, authentically a
too,
Joe Rogan
yeah.
fan at that point, and that was the main reason for it.
Yeah.
Actually, I liked his early comedy much more so than his recent stuff as well.
I haven't
So-
seen much of his comedy, maybe about 10 minutes, and it was early stuff, and it was funny, so I was like, that's cool. Yeah, not many people are funny. But, you know, what does he do? He's become the joke. That's what's so sad.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's like a caricature of himself. Everything's so crazy, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Isn't that awesome? Isn't that
it's so
mind-blowing?
weird. It's
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah. You know what is strange? That one guy can blow the lid on all these conspiracies.
It's
Oh,
impossible,
the
man.
round earth, the fucking
How many
evolution.
people would have to be in on it?
Yeah.
That's impossible.
I thought that was a great episode when he was talking about you. Like, how the fuck
He's
can
had more than one
guy-
episode that
Oh,
he basically
yeah.
was dedicated
Yeah, I
to
know.
just the Metabunk guy on.
Oh.
Whole episode dedicated. He
That
had Trevor
Nick
Vale,
West guy
the
is...
stained beard guy on. And he brings it up in a smaller way in the whole Eddie Bravo show too on Flat Earth, and then he brings it up in 10-20 minute segments with many other guests
many
to
others.
ridicule it. Yeah.
Has he ever brought your name up in front of Neil on camera?
Not my name. No. No, they imply me. They implied talking about me the last interview. So, Neil says he doesn't debate Flat Earth, or he doesn't debate Flat Earthers.
I reckon Neil's at home studying your books as we speak. I mean, it's
He should.
mid-February.
He should be.
It's the 19th of
Apparently
February.
he's-
People are waiting
he's
on
agreed
this.
to it. It's
What?
That's
That's
Joe,
why
Joe
Joe put it-
announced on his show that Neil agreed to it, and an hour later, my YouTube channel of 7 years, 135,000 subscribers, 28 million views,
Mm-hmm.
gets shut down for one hate speech strike against YouTube's own policy of 3. And I don't know that they're actually related, but that's exactly the timing that it happened. And then ever since then, it's said on his website that the debate will be happening in February, and that we're more than halfway through February, and neither Neil nor Joe has contacted me to say anything.
To write
I've
you.
only talked to Eddie, in passing about it. That we've, Eddie said he discussed it with Joe. He sent me the text message. He was texting Joe, and he's like, "You got to get Eric Dubay versus Neil deGrasse Tyson on your show. It'll melt the internet." And Joe was saying he's open to it and all that. And so Eddie sent me the text. I sent it back. Said, "Yeah, anytime. Just let him know." And that was when, shortly after he announced it on his show. And then my YouTube channel went down. And I asked for some time to bring my YouTube channel back up to Eddie. I told him.
Yeah.
And then once I did, after a couple of weeks, he said, "Okay, anytime." Eddie said he talked to Joe, and Joe's aware that I'm ready. So that's as much as I know, and I'm not gonna push Eddie again to go again or something. People
You
keep
don't
commenting. I
need
think
to-
I've done enough now. But
I don't even think you need to pump for it, because what the hell? There's no good going to come out
Oh,
of it, really.
exactly. They're just gonna try to tarnish me, and just bring up a bunch of straw men, and how they all do. So it's not gonna be. the only thing
I don't even think that they can, and I think that they know that they can't, and that's why there's no debate happening.
Yeah.
That's why
And if it does happen, I mean, I imagine they're going to cut me off and mess with my audio, which happened a lot with the Eddie show.
Yeah, somebody was fucking with it, probably.
That's my assumption. Not to sound like Math Powerland.
They're triangulating me.
Sexting my wife.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what I was going to say. When I met you the other day and I found out that you had a girlfriend, and that's really good for people to find out, because a lot of people will be like starting to look at your stuff and then someone will go, Eric Dubay bashes up his girlfriend, and they'll go straight to that video and they'll be like, oh, can't listen to anything that Eric Dubay says. And that's what I was getting at before. The guy who was telling me about Flat Earth, telling me, Eric Dubay's book is good, you should read this. And then he tried to have an affair with me when he had a wife. I'm like, I don't fucking trust anything that comes out of your mouth now. Like, get some integrity and then we can talk. But yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, I was physically abused in relationships, and I had to restrain my partner, and the bruise on the thigh, the picture is just from that. It's from me being abused and trying to stop it. I eventually broke up with 2 Thai women for the same reason. But yeah, now I'm with a 3rd Thai woman, and she just hasn't been abusive at all. And we've got a very
And
good
you've been
relationship.
together 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
That's nice. Well, it's good to know that, you know, it's not always you. When you get... What was your hair thing? It's like, Jesus! So that was good for me to hear, and just to hear you address it in private with me was good, because I don't really think you need to go on the internet and address any rumours about yourself, because things that people say about you... But one thing I said to myself when I did see a few of those videos was, well, you know, I have thrown an iron at one of my boyfriends. I've threatened to kill myself over and over with some of my boyfriends when I was young. When I'd get angry or depressed or want to have a fight, I'd be like, I'm just going to kill myself. I used to punch myself in the head with both hands when I was frustrated and trying to manipulate them into doing something I wanted or to control them. So I don't judge anyone for anything that they do in relationships, because I've pretty much already done it all, and I know that after doing it I learned how not to do it, right? So I know some people bash their wives and bash them all their lives and then bash their next girlfriend and they never learn, but that's not the way I operate, so I like to give anyone the benefit of the doubt. But also, it doesn't matter if you're bashing, raping, whatever, as long as, if you're telling truth, if you've discovered truths that are unknown, those truths don't become falsities because of your personality defects, or whatever you call those things.
And that's why all these things are being said about me, is because they can't debunk the Flat Earth information or any of the other information I'm providing. So they're trying to attack me personally.
Exactly, they destroy your message, they destroy your character.
Because people have actually gone to contact ex-girlfriends to try and get these photographs and statements. They've gone into Facebooks and taken all these pictures and posts with me and people, and you know, the pancake with an eye in it, and
yeah,
just whatever.
That
military
pancake
base.
with an eye made me go, he is Illuminati, man.
Are you serious?
That pancake was one of the biggest proofs for me. I was like, holy shit, why would they make an eye pancake? So we're hearing you say the other day, well, we made 2 eye pancakes, but the girl only took one of them for her video. The psychopath girl who came here to be your girlfriend, and when that didn't work out, she went stalking through all your friends to create a Eric's an arsehole account. But she never mentioned Eric's wrong. She never said the sun is 93 million miles away. She's just like, Eric's a bastard and he bashes up his girlfriend. And look at all this information I got from his past lovers. You were to interview any one of my 700, that's an exaggeration, past lovers, and they'll be, oh my God, the stories about me. I'm not going to say that on camera, but I am proud of everything I've ever done. I love who I am, but holy shit, if people talked, I wouldn't come off in a good way. I've done a lot of crazy things. Most of them, I mean, I've had people write albums of music about how crazy I was. I think I've been interesting at least. I've been my whole self the whole time, and that's all I can be. But that's why I'm always frustrated with the work that I do, because I'm so the opposite of you. I'm so disorganized, retarded, technically. I'm not disciplined in this, in getting things done in a logical procession, which I notice about you is wonderful. That's how you've managed to get all this stuff compiled that people can actually lean into to learn. And it takes months, years, and if you hadn't have spent a decade compiling it, learning it for yourself and then compiling it, none of us would be where we are. Math Powerland might have got us thinking with his photo or painting, but what else have you got from him ever that's been good, that you could say, sit down with someone and explain?
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
he doesn't provide much.
He doesn't
evidence or
even tell
anything
you,
that's
go
good.
and look at Samuel Rowbotham, look at Lady Blunt, look at the historical figures who were enthusiastic flat earthers throughout history.
Meanwhile,
All he does is egotistical things about his hair, his girlfriends.
And
He
say
wears
that
Masonic
I
t-shirts.
don't live in Thailand.
Yeah,
And that I can't speak Thai.
it
and
was
I'm a
well
Nazi.
organised of you to get to Thailand. You do, yeah.
I live on a military base. That was part of that other girl. That
Yeah.
girl, I just dated that girl for 2 months. Her father was in the military. I was on a military base because that's where she lived. You just, you know, you pass a little gate because she has a little sign on her car. What else did they say about me?
If you're going to be on a military base, you want to be on a Thai one. Being
The
an American,
Illuminati. Did you notice that? They're like the New World Order Thai
Illuminati.
military. It's like, I had no idea that the Thai military was known for its New World Order Illuminati connections.
Yeah,
But they make it that way.
protecting their flat Earth assets.
They claimed that I lived in Washington, D.C.
And you never did.
Never did. Not that it would mean anything if I
you
had.
did,
They're
I
trying
know.
to make that association.
I was born in Canberra, which is the satanic capital of Australia. And it's when I say satanic capital because all of the roads, whole city was planned by a Satanist. There's like pentagons in the road maps, just like in Washington. The American Embassy, the War Memorial and Parliament House are triangulating each other. And so, you know, some people think I am a government asset because I grew up in Canberra, so I can understand that's funny for you.
I don't think anyone in the community is immune from skepticism, nor should they be.
No, they shouldn't be. It's okay. Well, that's part of the reason why I decided to stop in Bangkok and meet you, because it helps clear things up. And 2 days with someone doesn't clear something up either. After being friends with David Icke for 5 or 6 months before I realised he wasn't good, I always say don't decide who your friends are until you're on your deathbed, because that's how you'll really know. Because I've had so many close people, even family, that have shown me that they have no ethics or integrity, but I still love them. You know, I don't mind. I understand that everybody's injuries promulgate more offensive actions, you know. So, and all of us are flawed in some way or another.
Sure. But I'm not the autistic receiver of a vaccine settlement. $100,000.
Tell me about that. I heard about that. I thought, wow.
Just trying to think of all the misconceptions.
Yeah, that's about that. You've pretty much covered all the ones I was.
This one we did Ali did some digging himself and along with myself, and found that this settlement that Paul Michael Bales dug out of who knows where of a guy named Eric Dubay from Maine actually did happen.
Oh, right.
I was skeptical of whether it was even real because I knew it wasn't me, and
Yeah,
he was trying to
yeah.
pin it on me that I got this vaccine settlement in late 2000s, I think it was.
Yeah.
And
that's
I
how
haven't
you
even been
moved
to
here.
America then since that time, whenever it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I've been here from.
Well,
a
good
decade.
on Ali for doing
And
that.
so yeah, he found the Facebook of the guy, the actual Eric Dubay,
Oh
who it
my
was, and he
God.
made a video of it.
Good.
The guy's like 45 years old,
Right.
you know, and on the Facebook it has him posting about his injury and all that. So we're sure now what it was.
Because I knew that you were aware of vaccine damage, but I didn't know if it was you.
I haven't even had a vaccine.
I'd be so happy if I did hear you got 100,000 settlement.
Right.
I couldn't think of the money going to anyone more deserving. Because you haven't been paid for how much work you really have done for humanity, except in love.
I tell everybody, if you want to support me, to buy my books.
Yeah.
So.
And then you tried to give them to me for free.
Well, yeah. I mean, all my books I give away for free as well. But I mean, like people that want to go the extra mile and want to support me more than just positive words.
Yeah.
A lot of people they push me on that issue.
Yeah.
And what I tell them is to buy multiple copies of my books so you can hand them out to people, and just so that they're in existence.
Yeah.
I was talking last night to my girlfriend about how back 100 years ago when these other Flat Earth books were coming out, there was only a few thousand of each one in print, and nowadays there's even less still in existence.
Yes.
So think about like if the internet got shut down or something, or just think about for comparative purposes, the effect that we're having now versus the effect that they had 100 years ago.
Yeah.
We're making leaps and bounds of exponential growth, and we're bringing back these old Flat Earth books in PDF and audiobook form. We're making new ones, we're making documentaries and videos, and people are saving them on their own.
It's massive.
Computers.
I didn't realize the amount of people supporting you until your channel got shut down.
Right.
I saw so much love, and it made me realize there's a really strong following for you, and those people won't go near any of the potato crew. So there's this whole big bunch of potatoes and their friends over here making all this noise. But over here, you're like the quiet turtle doing the slow, steady crawl, But this group over here is really growing, and it's really strong. And don't worry about those controlled opposition distractors and dividers, because it's becoming clearer and clearer. And as people wake up to the fact that the Adam Kokesh's, the David Icke's, the people who are promoted, and the Joe Rogans, the Ken O'Keefe's, that these people may not be all operating independently and organically, then they're going to have nowhere to turn except towards the work of people with integrity. So, and ultimately everything leads to Flat Earth. Like I'm watching all the anti-vax people starting, like, questioning science and accepting that scientists aren't always right. And I'm like, this is so intertwined with Flat Earth. But some of them, they're taking their time, and a lot of them who are well-known speakers, they don't want to discredit their vaccine message by becoming a science reappraiser. Right. And that's partly why I'm here, because I had that fear, even though I'm a nobody with like 5 fans. I was still scared to lose my 5 fans if I went down the Flat Earth path, And one of my friends at the time yelled at me. He was like, Elissa, of course the Earth's not flat. I can sit on the beach and see the curve. If you talk about Flat Earth, no one's ever going to listen to any of your other work. And I was like, that sounds free. That sounds quite nice. Like, throw everyone off my back and start fresh. And so because he was so pissed off with me, I was like, I've got to look into this. And I pretty much ended my friendship with that guy after that. And to take up the time that I'd been spending with him, I was researching, and it was nice.
Got kicked off of YouTube, so I went to PewTube, and I was guaranteed that PewTube was a free speech alternative. There's a bunch of alt-right type people over there, anti-Jew, pro-Hitler type stuff, so I figured they'd be fine with me, and they were with me posting that stuff. And then I posted like 200 proofs that the Earth's not a spinning ball, and a couple other Flat Earth videos, and I got banned from there too.
From PewTube?
From PewTube.
How dare they?
Right?
Don't they know who you are? So what about DTube? For Steamer, that has promise, but it's so
That's got so many
slow to
problems
load.
and lags.
Yeah.
I can't
watch anything
don't
on
work.
there. I know. I know.
Bit
But
shoot,
we're
I
on
tried.
the way.
That one I'm having problems with as well.
Yeah.
Minds I'm on now, that one seems decent.
Yeah.
I was able to upload some stuff there.
A few
Mind
people have
stuff.
said come on over to Minds because it's so much better than Facebook, but I'm just like, I don't want to be stuck over there with all you Minds. I like the Facebook. Well, Facebook is like an instant connector with so many people, and it connects to work as well as friends, as well as family. it's just so easy. I mean, if I lost it, it wouldn't be a problem. You'd still have your connections to people, but not instantaneously. Wherever you are in the world, sort of thing. You have to be checking your email. You have to, just a little more difficult.
And with some of these alternatives, we've got the cryptocurrencies. So it's with Facebook, you don't make any money. You have to pay money to advertise with Minds and with DTube and Steemit and stuff. We're able to actually make some money with.
Do you make
social
money on
media.
Minds?
There's
crypto?
the potential for
Right.
it. I've just been spending the points on boosting posts. But
Right.
yeah, you can.
So what sort of points? Is it cryptocurrency?
Some crypto, I can't remember what they use. but yeah.
Excellent. I love cryptocurrency. Bitcoin's 10,700 today. Like 3 days ago I had $430, then 2 days ago I had $470. Today I've got $586. You know,
It's nothing. People ask me about it all the time. My short stance on it is, I say I like crypto for the decentralization aspect and the fact that, normal, independent people trying to spread the word on social media are now able to actually get rewarded for their efforts. So I mean,
I've never been paid $10,000 for anything in my life.
And you got $10,000 for a single blog post.
Yeah, no, well,
Or
pretty
several
much.
blog
Yeah, 5 or 10 posts made me 1,400 Steam points, which turned into 9,000 when Steam went from $1 to $6. And sometimes it goes up as high as $13. So at that time I would have had $13,000, And I like money that loses and gains value rapidly, massively, because it reminds you are not your money. It reminds you that, like, as long as I've got $20, I'm happy, And I'm always going to have $20, you know what I mean? So it's a good thing. I really like crypto. The thing is, we know who owns the banking system. We know who owns fiat currency. Everyone out there who's so skeptical, and like, I've got some good friends on Facebook who've been really pissed off with me for talking about cryptocurrency. Like, not you too. Like, you've been, not like you've sold out, but you've fallen for their trick. It's the Illuminati trick. They want you to put all your money into crypto and then they're going to crash it and you're going to have no money. It's like, I've always had no money. I'm used to it. It's fine. Trust me, you don't need money. You just
your
need
personal
oxygen.
experience of it is the exact opposite of what they're worried about.
Yes, and in fact, like, it's giving me ridiculous gains. I've watched my dad in the stock market for 25 years, making just the most pathetic, crawly, slow profits that a mum and dad investor can make. And I've had, in such a short time, 20-fold those kind of profits in under a year. It's just insanity. I know people who've had 32 times their initial outlay. So if you put in 1,000, you got 32,000 in 3 days later. You know what I mean? It can really, and money is energy. So, look at those cute little birdhouses.
Yeah.
Money is energy, so these people are like, the Illuminati's going to kill you. It's like, well, if they're going to kill me, they're going to give me some energy first, obviously, because I'm watching a lot of just middle-class people having great gains. Like I said, a guy in Australia who started me on Steemit, he's made $1 million in crypto in 3 years, just cultivating Steemit posts and knowing how to trade. And admitting he's made many trades that have lost him money. And I'm making mistakes all the time as well, but I don't care, because I'm not attached to the money. Like, I bought into crypto when it was 18,000. Like, I had the Steemit, but then when it went up to 18,000, I had FOMO, fear of missing out. And that's what they say is this thing that every stupid idiot does, is when it gets really high, you're like, I gotta buy that. But that's not how you do it. That's not how you do it. You gotta buy when it's dying or dead, and then you ride it up. But it doesn't bother me. I bought in at 13,000 or US, or maybe it was 18,000 Australian, 13,000 US, and now it's down at 10, and look at me how happy I still am. I came to Thailand on this holiday. I'm going to Australia. It's just money that came from nothing, but it didn't come from nothing. It came from all the work that I did for free leading up to this time. So it's a good thing. And plus, we don't know who Satoshi was. There's a chance it was a Rothschild, hacker grandson, genius. And we know from the Economist magazine from 1988, have you seen this? You know the front page of the Economist magazine always predicts what's coming the year after? Well, in 1988 they said there'd be a new economy in 2018, and they had a Bitcoin logo or something like Bitcoin on it. So that made me go, holy shit, it's Rothschilds. Yeah. But another part of me, I'd say I'm 50-50 because I'm willing to throw all of myself in. Another part of me lives in hope that this was created by some super kid genius who could see that we just needed a new trading token and who had the tech skills to program it to make the whatever you call the interface or something that we could all sign on and get it. And most of my friends who are into Bitcoin got into it in 2010, 2011, the anarchist community, and they just sat there they bought it all, and then it just died and sat on $1 or a really low amount for about 4 years, you know. So they all kind of lost their excitement about it, and then I've just gotten into it lately when it started to go really, really up and down like this, because that's more fun for me anyway. Like, I don't want to buy crypto and sit on it for 5 years, even though that's what you have to do to make really big money. I just move a bit from my Steemit account, I buy Bitcoin, and then I watch that Bitcoin make maybe $40, $60 or $100 on a $500 base amount, and then I take that 100 out and spend it, you know. So it's cool, it's really nice. I wouldn't be completely suspicious about it. It's bought me this holiday which I wouldn't be able to have, or I would have been able to have, but I would have had to do about 900 more massages. And then I'd be like, hey Eric, how's the flat earth? I'm already so tired.
One of my favorite YouTube channels, the hottest vegan couple.
Oh yeah, they're cool. They send me some messages sometimes. Yeah. They liked my Neil deGrasse Tyson video. Yeah. They were like, you've covered everything in that. I was like, well, you're one of the 9 people in the world who could handle the swearing to listen to the end. But they're cool people. They are. They've moved to Mexico.
And they moved to Mexico on Steemit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're maintaining their lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I guess it mostly Steemit blog posts about the food they're creating there in Mexico.
Great.
Every meal, Carolyn's posting her meals. And,
great. Yeah. There's a huge community on Steemit for everything you could be interested in. Like one of the biggest posts was one girl made $25,000 for a week. God.
There you go. Yeah, down a little bit more.
I'm not real. And it's starting to sweat the globe, see? It's not global warming, it's sweating because the pressure you put on it. I can't believe South Park hasn't had you on as a character, except that would make me doubt you.
Eric Cartman, who hates Jews. You know, Eric.
Yeah.
The Nazi. I have wondered.
You don't hate Jews. You should clear that up. Do you hate Jews?
No.
Of course not. It's a joke that everybody makes about you because you revise history. You're a history revisionist.
Yeah, sure. I don't believe the official figures of the Holocaust.
And neither does the Red Cross, and neither does the people of Poland.
Right. So that shouldn't even be controversial, but it's so controversial.
Anti-Semitic, dude.
It's so controversial that it's the only historical event that's against the law to talk about in 18 countries. You get put in jail for it. Monica Schaefer, a Canadian citizen who went to the Sylvia Stoltz trial to support her, who was another woman, a German woman, exposing the Holocaust and other Jewish myths. And Sylvia was in prison for years, if I remember right. And just while she was there to support her, because Monica had made a single video when she was in Canada, where Holocaust denial is not a law, saying that she was apologizing to her German mother for what she had thought about.
She's in jail right now.
She's now in jail in Germany. They just came and kidnapped her right from that trial, and she's been in jail ever since.
And she's about 70 years old, isn't she? Is that the one who's
60s,
in her 60s? And such a beautiful looking woman. And she's saying I'm sorry to her mother because she always hated her German roots, and I've always felt sorry for German people. Even before I knew that we needed to do this revision of the official version of history, I've always felt sorry for Germans because we had so much propaganda in Australia. Every week on TV there was anti-Hitler war documentaries, And at school, we learnt all about it, and we learnt about Anne Frank. But we never learnt about Stalin, like you say. We never learnt about the North American Indians, Holocaust. We never learnt about anything. We didn't learn about Pol Pot, anything local. We didn't learn about Indonesia. We just learnt about Hitler. And that's why Hitler has become a caricature now. And that's why he's on t-shirts and stuff, because in places where you're not going to get arrested for wearing it, obviously. But because when you push something to that extent, it does become a joke. It loses its ability to have an effect on you when it's over-pushed. It's like when you need to sell something, you shouldn't oversell it, you know? It's the same sort of thing. They oversold Hitler. And so one day you sort of wake up and go, yeah, was he the only bad guy we ever learnt about? I was just trying to make ourselves feel better about the fact that we carpet bombed and slaughtered half the people in every city in Japan, and carpet bombed Germany, and God knows what else to kill 70 million people.
Have you seen Hellstorm?
I've fallen asleep during the first 40 or 50 minutes of it about 6 times, because I don't like old footage. It reminds me of all the documentaries I had to watch, and just the rape factor from our own side makes me so depressed. It just makes me think, holy shit, there's a divide between the sexes, that people think they can just go to another place and rape women, and it's not a reflection on the way they are at home or something. Yeah, that's the worst thing about war. I don't mind if men want to fight and kill each other, but then to just go and rape and destroy all the women that way, it's so disgusting. And that Hellstorm really focuses on what our side did in the way to the women after the war and even during, and it just depresses me so much I switch off. But one day I'll get through it. It's like 4 hours, isn't it? Or 3 hours?
Hellstorm's only an hour and a half or so.
Oh, right. Well, I've never made it to the end.
Yeah.
I've watched your documentary, The Greatest Story Never Told.
I took a lot from it.
Yeah.
Well, no, mine's not. That's another good one. The Greatest Story Never Told.
Oh, I thought that was yours. What's your one called?
Mine's called Adolf Hitler versus the Jew World Order.
The Jew World Order, that's right.
I took clips from Hellstorm and The Greatest Story Never Told, and many other places as well.
Do you have any German roots?
Yep.
You look a bit Germanic.
Mm-hmm.
I love our friend Mary Moon on Facebook. She's really proud of her German roots now, because she's re-educated herself.
And her children are the
unreal.
ultimate flat Earth warriors,
they
making
are.
signs and putting them up everywhere.
Libraries. She's amazing. She makes clothes, t-shirts. Yeah, she's a really forward and amazing, strong girl. I like her. And she's a very good educator of astrology. Mm-hmm. And she's an amazing astrologer in the sense that she took the flat Earth knowledge and immediately went, hey, look how well this works on a Gleason's map. So much easier than the stupid frickin' globe. Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
It does.
Celestial bodies, retrograde motion, everything.
Yeah.
It always made perfect sense. They act like we don't have answers for all these things that we've always had answers for nowadays with their new model. They never teach the kids in school the alternate version, and so everybody thinks there isn't one.
Yeah.
Or they teach them a straw man version of the flat Earth argument, so they think something that no flat earther actually believes in the first place.
Yeah.
Like the flat Earth disk constantly rising to account for gravity that the Flat Earth Society does, or Mark Sargent.
How well brainwashed is everybody by the word gravity? It's like neuro-linguistic programming. And every single person you ask goes, I'm going to drop my keys, I'm going to drop my phone.
Right.
That's gravity, Elissa. There's the proof. Oh, so a force pulled your phone down.
Yeah. It's not just the fact that
your phone's
it's
heavier
physically
than
denser
air.
than the air around it. I mean, think about it. There's air, then you've got, say, some oil resting on some water, which is on some land.
Yeah.
Everything has its own appropriate density.
Yeah, cement above the land.
Will find the density that's appropriate for it. Just like a helium balloon will rise up. So where's gravity now? What is a helium balloon an anti-gravity device?
Exactly.
Or why can birds and bugs and everything fly with almost no effort whatsoever? Yet entire buildings and oceans and everything can be held to the bottom of a ball. It makes
people
absolutely
go,
no
well, because
sense.
flies have got wings and they're pushing against gravity.
Right. What
and
about
butterflies.
smoke? Why does smoke rise then?
Yeah, smoke doesn't
gravity
have wings.
doesn't grab the smoke. And
Yeah.
gravity doesn't grab helium balloons. Okay?
Yeah.
No, everybody knows the helium balloons. You ask anybody about the helium balloon, and then they go, "Well, because it's lighter than air." Exactly. You know.
You got it.
You get it for the helium balloon.
Yeah.
It's lighter than air, so it rises, and
You
then
don't
your
get it for
keys
your-
fall to
yeah.
the floor. Why? Gravity. No, because they're,
They're
heavier than the air.
Yeah.
No.
I was at a bar in the night one night, and I had about 3 scotches, so I was a bit drunk. And I started to talk to one of my best friend's boyfriends, and he's one of the only smartest people I know there. He's really intuitive, and he's a really smart guy, and I wanted to just try it on him, you know. And we got to that point in the conversation, and he went to grab his phone and drop it, and I just took it out of his hand and threw it down, and I said, "Gravity, right?" And he was like, "Okay, listen, relax." But I was like, oh my God, that's how conditioned we are. We are all conditioned exactly the same. We have the same answers. But I guess we all watched Sesame Street, we all watched Fraggle Rock. I don't know what the fuck they taught us in, but it's in all of these cartoons, it's in everything. It's in the Dinosaur Run and in the Thai Park in Bangkok. It's coming at you from this. It must be 1,000,000 times you've been programmed that you weren't conscious of. It went in subtly under the radar, and that's what you're fighting against if you want to even look into this subject. So
All the subtle programming. The reason everybody knee-jerk reacts and just says gravity, like this one word somehow explains how water can conform to the exterior of a shape and stick to the underside of a ball and not ever show convexity on its surface. No,
yeah,
but it's just gravity.
yeah, it's gravity.
Oh, right. Oh. I win, right? I win.
Yeah, because
Gravity.
Gravity. It's like, well, yeah, you win for now, but when you get home, you're going to have some questions.
But that's what they were told when they were 5 years old, and they were thinking about a ball with water on it.
Yeah.
And they're like, I rose my hand and
Yeah.
I asked about it.
I don't think I
and
did.
I was told gravity.
I think my dad
then,
already taught me before I
what's
went
that
to
mean?
school. My dad did the bucket, like, this is how
Yeah,
water
yeah.
stays on the earth. Gravity. And I was always like, okay. And then I think it was reading your book, I realized 35 years later, oh, a bucket being swung around is a container.
The water's on
If
the
the water
inside.
was on the outside of the bucket when Dad did that, it would have been a great example.
Right.
But like that just shows how Dad wanted us at a really young age to understand these things. I remember when I was like less than 8, there was a solar eclipse, and Dad set up our whole lounge room. He had planets hanging from the roof, like he had tennis balls, ping pong balls, cricket balls, footballs, soccer balls, and it was the whole universe, and he was showing us how it all worked, and I'm like, no wonder I'm so, I don't know. It was hard for me at first, but then because of many times disagreeing with my dad over my life, and then I've always challenged everything that he taught me ultimately, which is good, you know. And now I'm coming back and he's getting old, so I can just hammer it into him. No, I don't know. He's probably going to resist pretty hard.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what happens.
Everybody-
I'm going to try and record all my family's conversations on this, and I might not even tell them. I might just do it with a secret device.
That'd be cool.
It'd be
Love to see it.
rude, but that's family. But it's, you know, it's ultimately for the good of humanity. Like Pol Pot said, I did it for my country. You know, and if they are made, like if one day they look stupid or one day I look stupid, we're both taking that risk, and we can only advance each other together by doing that, you know.
They say with gravity that they can't, like, it's such a weak force that you have to have an object as big as the Earth to be able.
I love that.
for
It only
to
works on
work at all.
Earth-size
Yeah,
scale.
on Earth-sized scale.
Yeah.
It's so convenient to say that because that's an unscientific statement.
Yes.
You can't just say that on a scale too big for any scientist to work with, but a few special, like 500 astronauts that have gone out and seen it and given you fake pictures of, that's all we have access to of proof of water sticking to a ball. Anything else, or anything sticking to a ball, like think of like the biggest spherical structure ever built is the Epcot Center spaceship Earth.
Yeah.
Looks like a big golf ball.
Yeah. Is that in America
why can't a
somewhere?
golf ball
Hold water.
be stuck to it?
Yeah, right.
The
Exactly.
golf ball is so small compared to
Well,
it.
Cavendish said that happened in his shed, didn't
Rotate around it.
he? Yeah, exactly.
Because gravity does whatever they want.
It doesn't pull it.
If they want it to, it
directly
pulls it
to
right
it,
to it.
yeah.
Well, like us on the Earth, it
Oh,
does.
right, it does.
It does.
Gravity's
But
holding
if they
us
want
in.
it to, it also keeps things in perpetual
Maybe if
elliptical
we were
orbit.
if we were shot a kilometre off the Earth, would we maybe stay in orbit because of gravity?
That's the idea. If you
Right.
jump high enough.
Well, that's what the ISS is doing, isn't it?
Right.
It's not being pulled down by gravity because it's in Earth's orbit. Is that how it works? That's what I understand.
Right.
Yeah.
So gravity is selective not only of what it works on, but how it affects objects, because they need it that way to excuse away all the things that they can't excuse away on their ball Earth.
Cavendish experiment never been repeated.
Cavendish experiment,
What do you
one big
think
lead
about
ball
that?
and a slightly smaller lead ball
In a
held in a shed where nobody else was watching.
No, and he
but
was
he claims
that
one of
watching
the
through
balls,
a telescope.
Yeah, watching through a telescope through the window, so that he didn't affect the experimental results through himself in any way. And he claims that the ball moved a very, very slight bit, and that is to this day a 200-plus-year-old proof of gravity,
Yeah.
and it can't be replicated.
I know.
You can't find lead balls big enough or small enough to make one of them attract the other one.
And
in
if
any
I
way.
was a rich Freemason and I did an experiment today in my shed with the doors closed, would anybody listen? I
Exactly.
can't be a Freemason unless I'm an Eastern Star.
And the known static electric force and other forces like that are like hundreds of times greater than the supposed force of gravity anyway, and would cause most objects to have an attraction. So there's explanations beyond gravity for anything that, and of course magnets, magnets attract. Their attraction exists, but it's not all masses. This is their claim that all masses have this thing called gravity.
So
but
do
it
they
only,
say we've
it
got
only-
a gravity?
We have gravity.
Well,
too.
I gravitated
But
here
your
to see
gravity
you.
is just so weak that you can.
My gravity's fucking weak, man. I can't pull anything along with me. And I like it that way. I asked for weak gravity.
They're gonna say this is Illuminati.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you
Orange.
I'm not gonna give you anything.
They're eating oranges during the interview.
trying
Orange
to
is
make it
33
Oh
numerologically.
yeah.
Obviously, we're eating the oranges as a subtle nod to the Illuminati to show that this is an Illuminati interview.
Yeah, but
nothing to do with.
that stuff's really subtle because, when Michelle Obama's doing that in a Vogue photograph, you know that? Did you see that one?
Oh, I have seen that one.
Yeah.
That one looks pretty intentional. To
It
me,
does.
actually.
That one's very intentional to me. But then there's the one of you going like that on your dating profile.
That's intentional too, but not from being
Not
a Mason.
to be like 666, to be like,
I was taking a bunch of pictures when I took that one, and it's the Gyami Mudra that I use every single day
yoga.
in meditation. You put your finger. Well, some people do it this way maybe, but I do it like that, and it literally was just that. And I was just taking pictures, and and probably wasn't the best idea to post.
well, yeah, but that girl put that piece together. And
Exactly, and Freemasonry stole these hand signs
Yeah.
from yoga in the
yeah,
first
because
place.
they are powerful.
And
Yeah.
I was hoping we might be able to find some. I didn't see any while we were walking, but you'll see Buddha statues of Buddha doing
doing it,
this,
yeah.
doing this, doing this one. The-
And even that, I think
Yeah,
I've
this one.
seen this double, yeah.
This one too,
The
even.
M, all right,
the-
yeah.
So these hand signs have been known for a long
That's
time.
why they take
And
them. Yeah, that's why they took them on. That's why Napoleon uses it, because 3,000 years earlier, Shiva was doing it or something.
Oh right,
you know?
there's plenty of temples with Shiva doing hand signs and other Hindu gods doing these hand signs. So it's not a Freemasonic thing originally.
They don't own it, yeah.
Absolutely.
They're just riding it, shall we say. And they ride all the stuff because they understand the laws of nature. I mean, it's so
It's supposed
bizarre.
to be subtle subliminal cues that it gives to people, the way you hold your
Yeah.
fingers, as well as
Well, Ken O'Keefe, right?
Yeah.
His whole 9/11 video, which was a great video that he did at the People's Voice. It's like a 1 hour or 2 hours of stuff. It was pretty damn good. he holds his hands in front of himself like this the whole time, like Angela Merkel, you know. And I think that often they are using it to say to people, it's okay, I'm in the club, you know, it's okay.
Absolutely.
I'm here.
Especially back in the day.
The people in the know, yeah.
Nowadays, people know about it, so a lot of people that aren't in it are doing it and stuff. And even like videos where I'll be making fun of, like I was making fun of Orphan Red, who did like a quick one
just
in
like
her Mark
IPS
Sargent video,
too.
and so I did it, and now I'm doing it again many times. Right? There's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So that people they're
Take
gonna
a
take
screenshot,
this screenshot and then
look
they're
at
gonna say,
Eric,
look at Eric, he
Elissa.
kept flashing it during the, and they're gonna take it out of context to the fact
We
that
could have just been talking about Iron Maiden.
whatever. Yeah, there's plenty of things that the sign is.
Megadeth.
I love you. It means I love you. Well, it's if you hold the finger out.
Right.
This is I love you in American Sign Language.
love you.
And it's made it all over the world. Here in Thailand, they do this all the time. In pictures,
I
they
love
smile.
you.
I love you. They don't even know what they're doing. So they're not Masons or
No.
Illuminati. But the original people like Dio, the musician, and Metallica, the ones that originally started this, as well as Helen Keller, who started it in American Sign Language.
I love Helen Keller. She was amazing.
Yeah, I mean
But I've heard strange stuff about her in the last few years too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, the people that originally brought these into popular culture may have been, knowing what they were doing, but the average person on the street that's imitating them has no idea what, the origin of the signs and symbols.
None of us do. We're profane. Is that the word? Let's talk about your uncle, the Freemason. So people often accuse you of being a Freemason because your great uncle was a Freemason. Oh my God, the 85-year-old Jewish jazz musician that I was talking to the other day about Flat Earth and the moon landings and 9/11 and the revision of historical revision, being a Holocaust denier or a truth seeker about the Second World War. Why am I talking about him? I can't remember.
Well, when you were massaging him, what was the first thing you talked about? Flat Earth?
Freemasons. He told me, I'm a Freemason. I'm like, well, you mustn't be that high up if you don't know the Earth's flat. And he said, well, I went a few times, but I'm not interested in the silly aprons. And I was like, well, that's why. I said that you're probably in the Blue Lodge or the Red Lodge, whichever lodge is the one where you're just philanthropizing and making money for children, retarded kids. The other lodge are the one eating and fucking the children and God knows having dead bodies in the morgue. And you've heard some of those defected Freemason stories?
Shriner
like
stories, Shriner hospitals, the things they get up to in their children's hospitals.
I don't want to know. What are you telling me? Just like organ theft as well as another thing. Yeah. So a lot of people say you must be a Freemason because your great uncle was a Freemason.
And my dad, somehow, he got put on there as he's a Freemason. We are actually on an anti-Mason list, both me and my dad, because we've spoken out against Masonry so publicly so much. So we're certainly not Masons. Nobody in the Dubay family is a Mason. And my great uncle, who is through marriage, he says he's a 32nd degree Mason. But yeah, he's in his late 80s now, and I didn't have any contact with him for years. And the first contact I had with him was when a few years ago he made a Facebook account, and he came on to one of my Flat Earth interviews, and he just wrote bullshit with exclamation points.
Why the fuck would he do that? Like, didn't he realize he was going to be exposed?
Sure, yeah.
Or he just thought, I can control Eric with some anger here.
Yeah.
Because that's how the Freemasons control each other, with fear or anger.
And threats and all that kind of stuff.
So he said, bullshit, and then what did you write?
And then I wrote, bullshit. I'll tell you what bullshit is. You can see the thread on iFirst.
You can
copied it all.
You can put this screenshot, we can edit it into this video.
And I relayed a story that I remembered as in childhood, which my father had told him again, and he claimed to have not remembered anything, including the pin, which, if anything, he would definitely know the pin and the symbolism, but he claims to have known nothing about it. And what it was is when I was a kid, maybe 5, 6, 7 years old, we were at a family gathering, and I noticed he was wearing a pin that has like a golf club looking thing and 2 balls.
Which is the Facebook, where the Facebook symbol comes from, kind of.
That's right, as well as the 007.
Yes.
007.
Yeah.
So it's like the golf
Two
club with the two
balls
balls.
and the cane.
It's two-ball cane from the Bible.
Two-ball cane.
He told me that, so I asked him, Jim, what's that pin? And he looked at me, he had like a glint in his eye, like he'd been waiting for somebody to ask him that question for
Like my little
for
protege.
years. And this kid's asking, his nephew, great nephew or whatever, is asking him. And then he's trying to think how to explain it to a 6-7-year-old. And he goes, well, you know, you go to church, you remember Tubal Cain from the Bible, right? I was like, yeah. I remember them saying that name in church. And he's like, you know how every man has 2 balls and a cane? And that one wasn't making quite as much sense, but I was starting to understand what he said. And he's like, that's it. It's 2 balls and a cane. It's Tubal Cain. And he just looked at me like proud of himself and wondering if I was going to, what my reaction would be. And I was mostly confused at the time. I had no idea what the heck was going on. I was like, okay. Basically, it was I was hoping I was going to get an answer that I would understand.
Yeah.
And instead, I got some esoteric Tubal Cain Bible, phallic Freemason explanation. But anyway, I remembered it to this day.
So then you how much contact did you have with him over the next 20, 30 years? As you
I'd see him at birthdays and
Christmas,
that's it.
And
then
what
since
was the
I've been
vibe
here, I
like
haven't
from
seen him
him?
at all. Well, he's always been the quiet guy
In the corner.
He doesn't like the family gatherings. He just kind of comes because his wife's the opposite. She's super gregarious.
Yeah.
Whatever. Where was I going to that? So my dad had originally already told him that he showed him the moon landing hoax stuff in the Atlantean conspiracy book, and he had said, where's Eric getting this information? Dad said, online here and there. Why? And he's like, this is dangerous. Eric shouldn't be doing this. And he's like disapproving of the moon landing hoax stuff.
It's only dangerous for Freemasons, though, right? Like, I think they only attack. They're not going to go and attack Elissa Hawke because she doesn't believe in the moon landing. I'm no threat. But like men of stature, men of society, they're not allowed to go anywhere with
they've
it.
taken oaths every degree they rise never to divulge the secrets of masonry.
And that's what
lest
he's scared of. He's
them-
like,
their tongue be cut out.
Eric's divulging the secrets that I'm not allowed to divulge because I promised I wouldn't.
Right.
It's like, well, Eric
But I
didn't promise anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
But obviously he knows it's real.
he knows it's real. He knows
Yeah.
the threats are real.
Does he know the Earth's flat? That's
And-
what I'm interested too.
So after that one time when he was, which made us know that he seems to know something both about the moon landing being fake and the fact that exposing it is dangerous. That's what he was saying. And then in another conversation that's between him and my grandfather and my dad, they were talking about the flat Earth, and he was being quiet in the corner as usual until they asked him, "What do you think, Jim?" And they were doing with their hands like, does the Earth spin around the sun like this, or does the sun revolve over the Earth like this? And he just sat there and he went like that.
Wow. So he did divulge a little for you.
Yeah, he wouldn't say it, but he made a motion.
Yeah. He can't lose his tongue. In
Yeah.
that case, they can cut off his
But
finger.
that was with my dad, and those both happened before the bullshit comment.
Wow.
So he already knew. My dad gave him a copy of my book, and,
He
and
knew
that was
that you knew.
that was when he came to make the Facebook post and say bullshit.
And so what was he trying to achieve by
right,
coming on
which
your
I don't
Facebook?
get it because
It's just like an angry outburst, really.
I think that's what it felt like. Just
It was,
an angry
he's
outburst.
angry at
Well,
himself
shortly
for giving
after,
his life
he blocked
over.
me, and he erased his comment.
Wow.
I took a screenshot of it
Yeah.
because I thought he might do that.
So sad not to have your great uncle as a Facebook friend. I've got to say, I don't know how you're
I
surviving.
haven't talked to him since,
Yeah,
and I got some shit from the family for it because, I'm the kind of guy that I
because
just.
you let it all hang out.
I
don't
do,
you?
and I want to tell the truth to everyone openly, and that's the only reason anybody would know of his existence, like that there is a Freemason in my family, is because I
You've
don't hide
told them,
anything. I'm
yeah.
transparent about it.
Yeah.
But then they just take that and run with it and create new angles.
But I mean, like I said about people wanting to argue that we need more gun laws while the government's pulling off all these false flags, those people don't want to go anywhere deeper than the official narrative, which is making them fall over the cliff like lemmings. But they will argue for their own foolishness to be continued, and that's the same sort of thing. But also, your great uncle has, on top of that, he's devoted his life. He's given his whole soul. He's like compromised himself his whole life, and he's angry. He might not even know he's angry. He thinks he's angry at you, but he's angry at him.
He's told my dad or his wife, he's told his wife, and she told my dad, I don't remember exactly, that it's very important to him, and that he's said many times that he must be buried with his Freemasonic apron.
Oh, God.
So that's like a thing, it's in his will, he's told his wife and everything, and I guess what they do is they slaughter a lamb. It's a lambskin apron they do, and it's supposed to be symbolic because the lamb, like in the Bible, it's innocent and pure and all this stuff, and they slaughter it, and then they wear it over their dick.
Yeah.
And
that's soft and cozy.
Oh, isn't it? And he it means so much to him that he's made a special point over and over again to be buried with it. So.
He must be very sort of insecure about this area. I mean, they make you insecure about that area. The like you said the other day, they have all sorts of rituals where they're like, we're going to burn you with a brand. It was only a cold iron.
Yeah, they change it at the last minute to a cold iron where you think you're going to be branded.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I think I did a video a while ago with a guy from Australia who befriended me on Facebook. And we were talking about all this sort of stuff, flat earth. He was a flat earther. Oh, he still is, I suppose. He doesn't talk to me anymore. But I did an interview with him and he was saying how he's thinking about joining the Freemasons in Australia because he has a friend who is in there or wants to go in there. And he was like, no, but you do get advantages. And I'm like, well, that's why I don't join them, because you shouldn't be able to join a group to get advantages over your fellow man. Like, if there's laws, then it should be for all of us, or whatever. But it just pisses me off that you can give a secret handshake to a policeman and get out of a speeding ticket, you know? Because a woman can't, you know? A woman might be able to do a secret handshake of another kind, but that's not an option for me. So, you know, I'm pissed off that these men can just tickle each other on the palm in a certain way, and they're making life easier for them, and it's still staying hard for the rest of us. That pisses me off. And as I did this interview with him, I was like, you're insane, you cannot join, it's not a benign thing. Even if you go to the good lodge and you're, you know, kept sort of relatively out of rising up, it's still not good for you. It's just not good energy or anything. After months after that interview passed, I started to realise he is already a Freemason. He was before he even started talking to me. Because he wrote to me one day and he was like, what do you think of this four square cornered earth with portals at both sides? And I was like, well, you know, the Book of Enoch mentioned something about portals, but I don't personally believe the sun and the moon go through portals and then come back. To me, it's easier to see it's a plane and these local lights circle above us. And he was like, oh, why? Because you've been something about Eric Dubay. Or why? Because you're an Eric Dubay fanboy or something. I was like, no, because I'm using logic and it doesn't sit right. And after that, I just clicked. One night I had a dream and I was like, he's already a Freemason. And that's why they sent him to be my friend. To kind of be my friend and carry me over here away from the truth. And I'm like, I don't even like people, motherfucker. I don't want any friends, especially not fucking Freemasons.
There's no culture in history that has a square flat earth map or a square flat earth cosmology.
Of course there isn't.
All flat earth cosmologies are circular.
But what about the Bible saying the four corners or the four pillars?
It's been translated in so many different ways.
Well, I'm not
the
into
thing
the
that's
Bible.
being called a corner very well could just be a cardinal direction
Yes,
or something
exactly,
like this. It doesn't have to
exactly.
be a physical limit or anything like that.
And we don't know if it's a perfectly round circle, if it's flat, or if it's an endless plane, or if it's the shape of Tasmania or whatever. None of us know, and until we have full investigation.
People get really confused by the cardinal directions and how they work on the flat earth. The only real direction we know is north.
Yeah.
North is the center where the compass points to, and that the pole star
Yeah.
is right above it, which is the one unmoving star that all the other stars revolve around.
Yeah.
So there's a middle point on Earth that corresponds with a middle point on the sky, and that is north.
Yeah.
Every line outwards straight from that is a
Goes
southward
south.
line.
Yeah.
A circle
Yeah.
around them with
That
Polaris 90 degrees to either shoulder is an east or west course. People are confused about the ball earth because they're told that if you travel east in one direction, just keep going straight, you'll come back to the place you started. Now, first of all, nobody's ever done that.
Yeah.
When they were sailing, they had to sail around the continents anyway.
Yeah.
So nobody has or could go in a literal straight line and
East
come
or
back
west,
to the place.
except for Captain Cook and that, who were trying to.
He wasn't going in a straight line either.
No, because they were trying to hug
They were
the
trying to find an
coastline.
inlet of the Antarctic coastline.
And they never
Captain
did.
Cook, Captain George Nares, and Captain James Clark Ross are three people that had big expeditions, many years long, 3 to 4 years, and
More than
charted
50,000 miles,
60 to 70,000 miles, never finding an inlet to the Antarctic
Or getting
ice
back
wall.
to the starting point, right. And now none of us are allowed to go down there.
Right.
I mean, in
and
the
if
same
you talk
sense.
about an ice wall, it's the craziest thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have footage. We have great footage now. If you look at John Thor's channel,
Oh, he's great.
Antarctic ice wall. He's got some footage that somebody posted, and it just goes on from hundreds of miles. You can just see. Yeah, it looks to be about, like they say, a 200 or so foot ice wall that just, and then a plateau over it.
Yeah, just
which makes perfect sense. We're in like a puddle.
Yeah.
The oceans must be contained. All water needs to be contained.
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense that there would be a container of some sort on the outer circumference, and it would be risen above the oceans to some degree. And of course, those explorers, they never went up on that plateau. They just sailed around it.
They can't get up on there.
The first operation to go up on it was called Operation High Jump.
Yeah.
To jump
Get up there.
up
Was
on the
that
wall.
Byrd,
That was Admiral Byrd, and he was a 33rd degree Freemason. He took like 4,000 military men with him, I think, for the trip.
And didn't he go on
only came back
TV
with
in
half
front
of
of a flat Earth map?
in front of a flat Earth map, and he said that he found land the size of America beyond Antarctica.
Yeah.
So whether that's true or not, it's hearsay.
And now we've got this, like I was talking to you the other day, this woman who's saying, I've skied from this point to the South Pole 3 times and from this point to the South Pole 3 times. But it's like, well, why don't you do it from there and then from 4 other points? Because she probably had sponsors, she probably had helpers, she probably had controllers, she probably wasn't doing it all on her own. She was probably looking like, oh, she's doing it all on her own. But of course, people would step in if anyone independent tried to actually do that. Now, Jarl Anderhoy was one of those people who really was anti-establishment. He'd already been fined several times for going there. He lost some crew members on an expedition. I've tried to find out more about that. Do you know about how those people died?
No, I haven't heard specifics about it.
Something happened and the boat exploded, or there was some accident and 2 people died or something, but even Jarl himself doesn't exactly know what went on, and that's why he's trying to go back there to get answers. So he's a really interesting character. He's one of the only people we know who's independently, if he is definitely independent, but he seems like it, because he's the only one who's saying, you know, he's getting fines for going there and stuff, whereas everyone else is like, I'm allowed to go wherever I want in the Antarctic.
There's a hollow earther named Rodney Clough who claims that he had an expedition to go to the North Pole back in the day, and they were turned around by Russian military ships.
How long ago was that, do you know?
I think that was in the 2000s, like 2007, 2010.
And what about, oh, so really recent, okay, they were turned back that recently. What about the cut yourself blood over intent people who were saying they had a trek to one of the poles gone?
Quasi-luminous.
Yeah, I think they've died down. They've gone with the potato crew. Not literally, but in everyone's minds, they're like, no, I'm going to move you over to that side and I'm just going to go down this.
But you watch their videos and it's all just like they're just taking words apart and symbolism and mixing them together and talking about how if you cut yourself, bleed on a piece of paper and write some spell,
it'll come true.
It'll come true. And what they're writing is that they'll bring heaven to earth. And Devin Maggi was saying that in 2019 they'll all magically transport across the Frost Bridge to Shambhala at the black hole sun at the North Pole center vortices of Earth. This is what they do.
You've watched that too much. You really.
Just
I
put all
can't
these
even watch
words
those
together.
guys, but they do sound kind of impressive when you put them all together.
Well, it's a technique that they do with it. They take like this Hindu myth and then combined with this Norse
with a bit
thing.
of NASA myths,
Yeah,
with the
they
black
put them all
hole.
together, black hole sun and all this stuff, and they have lyrics from the black hole sun song or something, and then they put it all together.
Which is really coming from Rahu and Ketu, which is who's that culture? Which culture does that come from? Many, right? Well, they have different names,
Vedic.
but Indian, So I can't even watch those guys. I tried when I heard that they were talking about an
Now they're talking about a
adventure.
physical expedition
Yeah.
too, and collecting money for it.
Yeah.
Of course, gonna take
And
boats
what
up there,
about
apparently.
Einar? Because let's talk about him, because he is somebody who I think was very interesting to watch for his first couple of videos. He made a few videos. Can you remember what they were called? I've wiped them from my mind.
Finding the curve.
Finding the Curve, and the first couple of episodes were interesting as hell. You could tell his true passion was there. His excitement when he went to the observatory and he speaks to the Foucault's pendulum guy. He was so innocent and good. But then within a few episodes, he was getting a lot of views. And then within a few episodes, he started to really show some strange, I don't know how to put it. He just started to seem like he was getting interfered with, shall we say. Like he was talking about doing an acting job somewhere and somebody giving him an acting job. But anyway, he went. I was watching those first few episodes with glee, thinking this guy's going to be great. But then I started to realise that he could be gathering everyone's energy, only to flip it in the last episode and go, oh, but my friend's dumb and my friend is wrong, so it's not flat. We can all relax. But he didn't quite get to that. It seemed like something else happened to him on the way. And then I remember you telling me once that he approached you about how he had a financier to give you guys the money to do a North or South Pole expedition. If you were interested.
Yeah.
But didn't he want to take Jake Gibson or some other asshole?
Powerland.
No! Imagine you and Matt Powerland
Oh
on an
yeah,
expedition.
Jake Gibson was in on the chat, I think.
Right,
he,
right.
He made a private chat with a few of us in it and was asking, is anyone interested? I've got, basically, because Matt's been asking for like a millionaire or billionaire to offer some money, and he was claiming that, I think it was this director guy, this Jewish director, movie director, is offering $2 million or something dollars to put towards a Antarctic circumnavigation, go one side and up the other side thing that Matt's been on about. I'm not interested in
basically
Jewish,
double
firstly,
what
Jewish
that woman,
funding from a Hollywood director.
Of course,
It doesn't sound like something I was interested
in. It also
in. So
sounds like a great opportunity to kill you.
Yeah, sure.
Not that it would, like, they can't kill you now. There's so much out there now, and your work is so admired and copied, and they can't kill the mission now, but they'd probably love to just kill you out of spite, just because you have unleashed the truth. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's people wanting to get you alone in the Antarctic and go, Eric just got really cold one day and we don't know what happened to Eric, but here he is in a body bag. He was great while he lasted. So Einar has now decided he's a flat earther again. It's like, too late, motherfucker, you lost your audience months ago. But yeah, no, I don't trust.
Is he uploading videos?
Yeah, he did something. He did something the other day, like Bill Nye versus a flat earther. I can't even click on it because I'm like, you lost us, Einar. You fucking lost us. Because you considered taking the money, even if you didn't. You considered it, and that's what we saw. And people like me, I can't go anywhere with that kind of energy. It's a feeling thing.
People like Brian Mullen.
Oh, I love Brian Mullen. Well, he had to disappear because they were going to take his engineering degree. And he also got married to a girl, and he obviously doesn't want to threaten her or her baby or whatever. Or maybe they're having a baby together now, I can't remember. But he's just it's really upsetting. Maybe somebody had a strong word and said, you're not going to survive. You're not just going to lose your job, you're going to lose a lot more. And maybe he
Rory Cooper, he disappeared and came back.
Right.
You know,
I heard the name. Yeah.
I don't know what his reason for leaving was or what his reason for coming back is either.
Right. And then there was Tiger Dan.
Oh, right.
I don't remember him. He was right at the start.
He made the worst rap song. Did you ever hear that?
No, but
I mean,
I didn't even like his videos, but I'm sure I wouldn't have liked a rap song.
Had to be intentionally bad. I mean, it's just something you would not.
Kind of like D Marble's rap song.
It was worse than that.
Oh, really? It must have been bad.
You'd rock out to D Marble's song before you'd listen to Tiger Dan.
Well, he is white. He is white and English, so I don't know how good he can rap.
Oh, there's plenty of good English white rappers I've seen, so it's not that.
I'm not into rap, I don't know.
He was just terrible. It looked like he was purposely making it.
Yeah. Well, he I don't even think that he could have been like.
You can't.
He wasn't
there's no
influential enough.
Going back.
Yeah,
you can't be a real flat earther
No.
and then say, oh no, it's not flat. Like,
Yeah, it's
you-
like
you can't-
9/11. It's like Charlie Beach.
Is more. Oh right. It's more so though than that because it's your actual observable, livable reality is of a flat, motionless Earth. So when you debunk the programming and all you're left with is your actual senses that you know are correct, you don't suddenly just become re-brainwashed. It's impossible.
Yeah,
Well, that's why
that's
once you know everything that you were told as a child
Is
and
wrong.
you're fed in the media, once you're aware that's wrong, and once you know the actual proofs, the actual evidence, which all it is the evidence of your senses, which have been telling you the truth all along. Once you go back to that and you reclaim your power, you reclaim your ability to know that you're not spinning, and to know that horizon is flat and rises to eye level,
And have seen through
and to
the
know that water
propaganda.
always
Yeah.
levels out. And once you know these things, you can't fall for the belief systems that they try to
So yeah, I can't trust anyone who goes flat, then comes back, then goes flat again. It's like,
You were
no.
you
Just
were
quit. Go
never
do something else,
genuine.
I know.
Right.
Go do something else with your excellent filmmaking skills because
Well, I think that's what him personally. His passion is the filmmaking more than the flat Earth.
I think he's got a fair bit of passion for flat Earth. Maybe,
Well, if he's back, then I will eat those words in that sense. Because
Yeah,
obviously
who
he's back.
knows?
But I think the
He might
decision
be-
to take his videos off is what I
Yeah.
mean. His decision to do that was because he was basically told that that's what you needed to do
Yeah.
if you're going to have any chance of a history
Making in film,
as an actor.
yeah.
So he made that choice for him personally. But I think if he's back now, either he's a shill or
he might want to grapple his life
Yeah,
back.
yeah, he's figuring
and
it
good
out.
luck to him if he does.
Exactly.
Because he's never going to make it as an actor. But he's an awesome filmmaker. He really is. His incredible documentary skills, just knowing how to clip together the ugliest footage and still be totally fascinating. And he, oh my God, it was just such a blessing watching that one friend of his who opened his mind.
Yeah.
It was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, they both seem very genuine.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only thing I question about Einar is the company he keeps,
Yeah.
similar to Eddie
And
Bravo.
and it was only at the end there that he got involved with those people that
Right.
were dodgy. He was very independent before that.
Right.
It was just him and his buddies in a hostel, whatever, you know. But then after that, it was like he got sent to Port-au-Prince or some country to make a movie with this Jewish filmmaking family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he took all his videos down. And when people like that complain and go, oh, I've had it, I'm so tired, I've really worked hard for the flat earth and I've just got to quit and have a rest, like fucking Jake Gibson doing that.
Right.
Oh, I'm like, how can they talk like that when they look at what you've been through? It's like, you can't complain until you're done as much as Eric.
That's what I think.
Yeah,
I
and
can't
look
say
at
it though, or
you.
else I look more pretentious than I actually am. Which
Well,
I am
that's
quite
why I
pretentious
say
as
it
it
to
is.
you.
So it's not,
That's all right.
it's not helpful
You
to,
can't. It's good to
try
know you're not
try to
perfect.
rein it in.
Yeah.
And be humble.
No, I
Again.
wanted to ask you about how elements of yourself where you see your humanness.
Well, that's one of them. I mean,
Yeah,
I think of myself as being pretentious, like because I feel like I'm above it all.
Yeah.
And so I think people view me that way, and there's not much I can do about it because I really do feel
That way. Oh, me too. I have that exact same thing. I never thought of it as pretentious.
Maybe that's not the right word. But
No, I think
presumptuous
yeah,
is another.
or
snobby.
For me,
yeah,
I think of myself
snobby.
as
I think
snobby.
if I was gonna.
But it's like you've got to drain the swamp, or you've got to clear out the excess. To find truth, you literally have to push away everything that's going to drag you back.
Yeah, I think my
So-
snobbiness is a direct result of. I mean, look at my place in life and history. You think you could not be like have a heavy wall and
Yeah.
be like a snob and.
You wouldn't have been able to do anything that you've done. You wouldn't have lasted past the 3-month mark that these guys have been involved for before they quit. Like, I'm so tired. Like Jake Gibson, I'm tired of taking everyone's donations and fucking all the girls around the flat earth America. You know, I need a rest. It's like, okay, Jake.
He even admitted
Take a
in
rest,
his recent
motherfucker.
live stream, all he does now is live streams, and he said because he's able to make super chat donations.
Donations.
He compared the last video he made, he spent like 13 hours putting together all these clips for a Bill Nye something or other. whatever.
Nobody watched
and
it,
nobody,
never
yeah,
made
barely
no
made,
money.
yeah, and didn't make any money. Yet I can just turn on a live stream and oh look, so
Some
and so's
people giving
donated.
me $5, yeah.
So
So
I
you
mean-
made $25 today. Well, that's good, Jake. Don't worry about your integrity, keeping that intact. Not important. You go and enjoy that $5. Enjoy the rest of your life without your integrity and enjoy that $5. Super chat. But that's how easy some people are to corral, and that's why they sent IPS to him to teach him how to do super chats, because they were like, as soon as this guy gets $5, he's owned. He's so easily owned. $5
Yeah, because his early videos were decent.
Yeah, his
And
first one or two
He was
were
supportive
great.
of me, and I was always supportive of him. Leaved encouraging comments and everything, until one day he just changed his mind about me and started bashing me. And I commented asking like, "Oh, what's with the change of heart? You've always complimented me. I've always complimented you." And he blocked me. And
What do you think that was? What do you think made that happen? Was it his friendship with Matt Powerland, maybe? Because they did
potentially
become
it was
friends.
around that time.
Yeah,
It was around
yeah.
He also met that Brian Andrew.
When people tell me, "Oh, Eric Dubay's a douche," I just wipe them out of my life. I'm like, "Oh, that was nice, see ya." I don't know, but you know, in future I might have to wipe you out of my life, like I wiped David and Ken and all that. But I don't care. Like, I'm not attached to anyone in particular. I'm just attached to whatever truth. I got all the truth I could get out of that guy. I got all the truth I can get out of you. But yeah, when you watch people like that get so attached to their truth tellers, it's like, it's almost gay, you know? It's almost like, wow, you guys, just cuddle, just get it on, like, you may as well.
Absolutely. I see a lot of Alex Jones supporters that look like they just look up to him like Big Daddy or Big Brother.
Everybody's looking for that daddy figure
Yeah.
for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they're missing it. A lot of people are.
Yeah, a lot of people
of, even if you have the father, a lot of them have become effeminate or
Henpecked,
emasculated
yeah.
in ways we were talking about.
Yeah. Let's talk about your dad, because I've always thought he was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you were talking about him the other day, saying he was a bus driver, and he's remained open-minded, or did he open your mind? Because you said that he used to listen to podcasts and stuff while he was driving his bus.
Yeah.
So did he get you into conspiracy, or were you into it before him? Or?
I was into it before him. I got him into conspiracies.
And you got your parents to become vegan. How
I
cool
got
is
him
that?
vegan. I got him to be flat earthers.
I think that's the power of an only child. Because if there's some other kids hanging back eating fucking hamburgers and saying that Earth's a globe, they're going to hang with those kids, trust me. I think you, because they're like, they're like, we'll lose our son if we don't listen.
Well,
and I think they listened for long enough that they became aware.
Back in the first thing I woke up to was 9/11.
Good.
And my dad stopped talking to me for 2 months.
Good. I mean, I'm glad to see that he was that closed at first.
Yeah.
Because it shows how far he's come.
Right. My mom was crying and told him to just talk to him. Like, you don't have to agree with him. Just let's talk to him. It's been 2 months.
Was he a real patriot? Was he like, our government wouldn't do that to our own people?
And he watched the news religiously.
Yeah.
You know, 6 o'clock news every night. So
he
thought he was informed. He
yeah.
knew everything. So, it took Loose Change, the documentary.
Yeah.
We watched that together, online together at the same time, and that woke him right up.
So he was like, I'm fighting with you, and then he said, well, all right, show me a documentary. And so you sat together.
Like I said, my mom came to him crying because we hadn't talked for months now, and it was getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
So then he agreed to just, regain contact.
Yeah.
And of course, I wanted to continue talking about the stuff I was writing and reading about, and so that's it. I had him watch Loose Change, and then by the end of it, he was, he wasn't sure, but he was in that stage that people are with like flat Earth, where you're like, okay, that's no longer a set in stone thing like I thought it was. There's definitely something I need to put some time
settled science.
figuring out.
Yeah.
So they figured that out. They know dinosaurs don't exist. That the Earth's flat and NASA's bullshit, and the whole medical industry, vaccines. They know everything. The only thing that has been a long-term thing getting them to understand, which they're slowly coming around now, is the fact that Jesus most likely was not a historical figure, but was rather a mythical.
Eric, that's such good work. That is great work. Because that's hardcore when the whole family...
They don't maybe know, my entire family, except for me, are all devout Christians. I've read the Bible from cover to cover and gone to church since before I could walk. So I come from a family that's not too open-minded about
Yeah.
about something like that.
Look at that bird. It's so pretty.
Yeah. I've
They're
seen that type
amazing.
many times. It's like a light
Blue and dark.
blue,
It's like
but very.
incandescent. Yeah,
Yeah.
incandescent. So, what was I going to say about that? Your dad started to come around to 9/11. One of my friends was telling me yesterday on Facebook that the first time she spoke to her parents, her mum and her mum's partner, about 9/11, they got so mad at her, they went inside the house, slammed the door and turned the porch light off and left her sitting in the dark on the front porch. But she's like a year or two later now and they've finally come around because someone credible with authority, not their own daughter, who they can't trust, but somebody credible with authority has told them 9/11's an inside job because frickin' everybody knows that by now. And so now they're like, oh, tell us what you know, darling. I said to her, I bet they didn't apologise and I bet they didn't thank you because they never do. But you don't do it for thanks or apologies. You do it because you're obligated.
If you're doing it for the "I told you so," you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
You
that
will be
comment.
able to say "I told you so," but
Yeah.
it's not going to be satisfying.
No,
in
it's
any way.
not. It's not
And you probably
satisfying.
won't. By the time you could say it, you'll just be so happy that they finally fucking woke up.
Yeah, that you will
You're not
never
gonna- you're not
say,
gonna
I
condemn
told you
them,
so.
"I told you so,"
Yeah, no way.
You'd hope that they would though, because damn, some of them put us through some shit before
Yeah,
they finally
it
fucking
would have
wake up.
been
And then-
nice, yeah.
And then you don't hear any sort of, like you said, a thank you or an apology for everything you had to go through
Yeah,
to
on
help
your
them,
own,
which is what
yeah.
we're doing. All us flat earthers or conspiracy people, anti-vaxxers, vegans, all those people trying to help and save the world.
Yeah.
We're just trying to help you.
Wake
we
up
don't want you
people
to
to
die
the
of cancer.
agenda. Yeah,
we-
even these gun laws. Let's change the gun laws so only police and military can have guns. Yeah, well that worked great for Pol Pot and Stalin, whatever. You know, they all disarm the populace before they go in and kill millions and millions of them. And they do it for their country, but yeah, that's who we are. We are the populace. We're the ones that are going to suffer by not waking up to these lies, you know. So tell me about your dad. Did he used to listen to? He started listening to like Alex Jones after a while. Well, obviously
I got him
after
into Alex
that,
Jones
yeah.
too, so that was
So
my
this
fault
would have
as
been like 10 years ago, right, or more, like 28 or 26 or 2005, something like that.
2005, 2006.
And did he call the Alex Jones show and say one day, you should listen to my son about, what was it? Was it a book about the flat earth or was it something else? Was it 9/11 related?
He called the Info Warrior show with Jason Berman.
Yes.
You know, that made Loose Change.
Right.
And he told them about the story I just told you about Loose Change and 9/11 and him stopping talking to me.
Oh, did he? Wow, he went on that show and talked about it. How cool.
I lost it when they deleted my channel.
Oh, I'm
lost
so
it. Couldn't
sorry.
find it. It's not on my computer and nobody seemed to have saved that. If
Oh.
anybody has that interview, let me know.
Please, I hope someone out. Would Jason Bermas have it?
Well, if you knew, I don't remember the date of it, you could maybe catch the live.
I mean, if it's InfoWars,
It was his Info Warrior show
it
that he did.
should be somewhere, Eric. I
It's so
hope
hard
that it
to-
is. You know, I was going to ask about that. Is there any possibility you could sue for unfair closing down of a channel like that? Like, it's massive damages. But I know you don't want to spend money on that kind of crap. But wouldn't it be great if you had a friend who was a competent lawyer who knew how to, the ins and outs? If there's any competent lawyers out there who can help with the shutting down of a YouTube channel unfairly, then contact Eric.
I actually contacted this guy called Ben at trustedblogger.com or something. He's on Twitter because I guess he works for YouTube, and his thing is if you feel your channel's been shut down unfairly, you contact him and he sees what he can do about it. And a lot of people, even in the truth community, I heard, have gotten their channel back. So I contacted him, and he told me that whatever it was that got my channel shut down was over his head to be able to.
Wow. So you found that
So
out.
he had no ability,
Yeah, to
like he did
turn
with
it
some other
around.
truth channels,
Yeah.
to turn it around.
How very interesting.
Which I figured because I didn't get the 3 strikes that they give everybody.
No, you got one.
I got 1 strike and I was out.
And it was an unfair strike as well.
It was hate speech
Yeah.
for a film, just exposing Judaism and lies about Hitler.
Yeah.
There was nothing hateful. It was
And
just,
it's completely historically factual.
Exactly.
And it wasn't even you saying it, really. Was it? Wasn't it out of a clip
Right. I don't think there's anything of me in that. Like I don't speak throughout that documentary.
Yeah, you weren't being hateful yourself.
It's not exactly. It's not even me. And none of the clips I used were anyone being hateful or anything like that. It's just truthful, but truth sounds like hate to those who hate truth.
And so in the years after that, you started to uncover the flat earth. And how long did it take for your parents to come with you on that one? Or was it straight away? Or was
I told them a little bit about it back before I was even sure about it. So I kind of told them what I was learning from the Robotham and Carpenter books, and just kind of ran it by them to see what. And I told them I don't know. It's just because we just talk every week. So I told them what I was into at the moment. But then I remember there was one when I decided I was going to write the Flat Earth Conspiracy book. At that point, I convinced myself I was 100% sure.
Yeah.
And I told them one day, I was like, I've been talking about how the Earth might be flat. Like, oh yeah. It's like, I know it's flat now.
Wow.
Do you?
Wow.
And
so they were open after that. That's good.
Well, they were already open.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it anyway, but they weren't. See, once they closed down because of the 9/11 issue. Well, Mom never closed down, but once Dad closed down because of the 9/11 issue, and then reopened and found that he was wrong.
Yeah.
He's never closed down
Again.
100% like that.
Good.
He'll maybe he's good about it. He says, what you would expect. That, well, at this point, I don't
I don't
you,
know
and I
it,
don't
but
know. I haven't looked
I'm
into
going
it,
to need
but
to. I trust
but I'll look into
you,
it.
and I trust that you know why you know what you know. That's beautiful. I think it's the saddest thing that parents don't listen to their own children. It's just so sad.
Yeah, I'm lucky with that. They're pretty much the only ones in my family that do listen to me. My whole extended family, they've heard maybe bits and pieces, but mostly just from my parents.
They're too challenged because of your
I think
Jesus
they're too challenged, about that.
Because you haven't towed the line with Christianity.
Ever, yeah. So I've always been the black sheep in my family, and now that I've lived in Thailand for so long, I don't even think they really consider me, I mean, they consider me part of the family, but they don't. When there's family gatherings or anything, I'm never there. So I'm just kind of this.
Must be so peaceful.
They ask my parents about once in a while, like, how's Eric? And then my parents, when you ask someone, how's Eric?
How's Eric? He's got 150 million fucking views. But then that got suppressed, so now he's back to 27 views and no fans. And,
Nobody knows him.
No, he's got 11,000 subscribers again now. Thank God. Yeah, he's building back up.
My YouTube's totally suppressing the new account big time.
Oh, well, that's how I felt since 2006. And maybe, I always...
People are getting unsubscribed repeatedly.
Yeah,
they have to keep resubscribing.
My subscribers are sat on 714 since I made that Neil deGrasse Tyson thing. And a lot of people say to me, I just subscribed and the number count didn't go up. And I'm like, well, I'm not surprised. I must be damn good. Or something.
I bet they have an algorithm that at the click of a button, they don't even need a click of a button.
They don't even need any
The algorithm
of it,
picks it up from things you say or show.
Yeah.
That then it de-emphasizes
I tried to
your channel
monetize my
in
account
various ways.
years ago and they said no way. And I'm like, why? They said your content is inappropriate. This was like years ago before I was even into this flat earth stuff. I'm like, it's inappropriate. But it's because I'm a loudmouth and I was a comedian. I think that actually there were some people watching me. And I know because I was suppressed in Australia. I felt suppressed in the comedy community. Like I would get all the show gigs, but nobody would put me on TV. And if they would, I'd probably fuck it up anyway. So, do you want to go eat something?
Sure.
Yeah? I'm kind of thirsty. Yeah, I may as well.
Kia. That means fucking asshole or something.
Kia.
Actually, Kia is actually a reptile.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they're saying. I thought they were swearing.
Oh.
There you go. They're saying they're not swearing.
They're saying reptile.
That reptile over there is a Kia.
Weren't you saying they might attack you if you chase them?
Well, yeah, if you do like that, they could. But usually, just like you saw, they're scared of it.
Jesus Christ, is that the triads? It's like the Bloods, the Crips, and the triads. Chasing like lagoon animals.
Wow. I think that's a new Bitcoin with a W there, a WOW coin.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
So you can see they got
Asia
the Masonic symbol
loves
there,
their
too,
crypto.
The TMB, the it's red and blue.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The M, of course,
Mason.
has 2 dots over it, which looks like 2 men holding hands or touching dicks.
Oh, wow. Like
Like
putting their swords
yeah,
together,
or
touching swords.
Probably more like
shaking hands.
But yeah, of course, it's the M that they do it on.
With the Freemasons, it's touching dicks,
They
you
always
know
do
it.
the M here. You have the movie theaters are called the M. They have Emporium, M Courtier, and you get an M card which has M points on it. And so of course the M always stands for masonry, but they just I don't know what they
When
call
I
it.
found out that MTV was
MTV,
Masonic
right.
TV,
Have
and
you seen where the MTV
Headquarters
are?
in Canada.
I didn't realize it. They're
it's a
above
Masonic temple.
A Freemasonic
well, that's
lodge.
in Hollywood,
Yeah.
but the MTV actual building in Canada is in the Freemasonic temple as well.
There you go. They use M and MM all the time, like Mickey Mouse.
If you watch the Kardashians, it's full of Masonic
KK is
symbols.
another one.
Yes, and the black and white floors in all their houses, in all their photo shoots, they've got the pillars, Joaz and Joachim, or
Right.
I can't remember the names.
They purposely do little crossovers too. I got kicked off of AboveTopSecret.com for a thread I did exposing this.
I've heard
where
bad things about that forum, but I've never been there really.
I showed how like you'll see Eminem, the rapper, dressing up as Mickey Mouse, M&M,
Yeah.
and Marilyn Manson,
Yeah,
M&M, also
Marilyn
wearing
Monroe.
and
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe, and all these MMs, and they dress up as other MMs,
Yeah.
like what's his name, Mike. What's
Myers.
Austin Powers? Mike
Yeah.
Myers dresses up as some other MM. I can't remember now, but so they're always doing this little cheeky thing where
Yeah.
one of the MMs dresses up like another MM.
It's constantly tickling each other, isn't it?
It is.
With this, like, we've got a little secret.
Right.
I freaking hate people
They
in the
love that.
world who love having secrets.
And that's what the flat Earth is. That's
Yeah,
their big secret.
Their big secret.
So when you become a Freemason, one of the big things you learn that separates you from the rest of the society is that you know this huge truth that the Freemasons
Yeah.
know. That
And that's
Earth
your
is
big
flat.
reward at the end.
That thing that everybody laughs about, you actually know that they're laughing at their own stupid ignorance, thinking that it's a bullshit subject
Yeah.
when it's actually the NASA's bullshit that they're believing.
And do you see how you're ruining Freemasonry by releasing this truth
Absolutely.
to the
I
profane?
mean, before I wrote my book, that was, it all comes to you. You think, like, what is the effect going to be if I really
Yeah.
come out and do this?
But you must, I mean, I can't believe you even got off your ass and started to try, because it's just the most impossible task, and you've come so far in such a short time.
It's been over 10 years, so for
Right.
me it doesn't feel that
No,
short.
it's not, but
It's been
considering how
huge
long
since
it's
the
been a
flat Earth, but
secret.
I knew that too. Like,
500 years suppressed, 10 years to come out, and I'm talking, it's out. It's internationally out, Eric, everywhere.
it's,
They'd have to
200
shut
proofs in
YouTube
20
down.
languages now.
Yeah.
20 languages. It's getting out all over the world.
I don't want to ask how many books you've sold or anything like that, because I think
I don't
that
know
should
the
be a
exact
secret.
number.
That should be a secret you should keep from the Freemasons as well.
Right.
I mean, obviously they've
Well, I
got
give
their
them all away
means
for
and
free
ways.
in
Yeah.
PDF form as
Yeah,
well, so
exactly. Everybody who
it's
wants to
everywhere.
read your stuff can read it for
Right.
free. I did. I never pay my heroes, really.
Right.
Except I am going to pay for lunch. Yeah, I think, what you've done is just an impossible task. And you could actually stop tomorrow and it's got its own legs.
Yeah,
You don't have
that's
to
what I
be
like the
killed.
most. That's
You
why
could
I put so
actually
much effort the past few years into it, and that's why I waited to explode everything out in November 2014. Had the interviews and the book and the
all lined up.
documentary all lined up before I posted anything anywhere, so that if they did like kill me right away, that I'd have everything out, and also so that everyone's going to be asking all these questions. So it's best to have all your ducks in a row beforehand instead of trying to scramble at the end. So
Yeah, trying to pull your answers together in a hurry never looks good.
absolutely. And what I'm so proud and impressed of that everyone's doing now is not only have they figured out the Earth's flat, but they're taking it upon themselves to be active, spread the word, do street activism,
Yeah.
do things like this so that it won't die. And no matter
And
what
there's
they
so
do
many
to a
different
figure like
people's
myself or
styles,
anyone
yeah.
else, or if they try to co-opt it with various shills or whatever, as long as the genuine people who know the truth get active and stay active,
Yeah, it's
Like,
not going to die.
it's not going to die.
Yeah.
So just keep it up. Everybody is doing wonderful
Great
jobs.
stuff.
And don't
Yeah.
stop. Don't be discouraged.
That guy's video that you promoted yesterday, I can't remember, Truth Center. That was a great video, and he's a young guy.
He's 16 years old.
16? I thought he looked
14
young.
years old. He
Fuck.
figured it out, and look what he's doing. He's got a great YouTube channel.
It's really professional video.
Exactly.
He's really calm. Yeah,
exactly.
and he's beautifully put together, so professional. God, I love kids like that.
That's
just
inspiring
awesome.
to me.
Yeah, because he's got a whole bunch of friends and generation that's going to follow his lead,
That's right.
independent of whatever you do. Oh God, yeah. I just think that the big thing for me at the start was realizing, like, this is the most impossible task. If you could think of an impossible task, this is it. How civilized. Beautiful. And this is prawns with bacon.
So fake bacon.
He's not really a vegetarian.
All this is.
This is just a big plate of meat, fish. Snowfish made of snow. Lamb chops with cheese and mustard. And
It's fried chicken with
get out.
Garlic.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, and that's tuna
Fake tuna salad.
How far into it were you? How far into the release of it were you before you started to get? Before you ever got your first serious death threat?
That Masons are trying to co-opt me post that I made.
Yes.
That was pre-Flat Earth. That was.
Why? Why were they trying to co-opt you pre-Flat Earth?
Well, I mean, we'd already released Atlantean Conspiracy and all the information in
Yeah.
that book, which is
So you were like
hoax,
David
geocentrism.
Icke's, David Icke with extra new stuff, and you weren't under their control like he was, so you were totally dangerous.
So, I mean, that.
And was this after your grandfather, your great uncle and you had the fight?
No, it was before.
Before? Wow.
That was more than a threat, that was a bribe as well. That was,
Yeah, like we're
join
going to
us
give you a show.
and we'll give you your own television show, or don't, and bad things are going to happen to you.
Yeah, that guy was a dick. Yeah.
He was, and I did a follow-up post on him. I did some research into him. He lives in like a castle in England. and
How did
stuff.
you find out who he was?
There's information about him online.
And did he put his name to it or something, his full name?
Yeah, his family name and everything, so we're able to find his family crest and their castle, which is actually his residence and all this stuff.
Wow.
So that's on the follow-up post.
No wonder
which is
they
linked
have
to
the
it.
audacity to tell you to stop living your life. So rich and just so self-important, and they have a lot to lose if the system crumbles.
Yeah.
And I think Flat Earth is going to be the system crumbler and be helped by cryptocurrency. And so how did that make you feel when that happened? Were you scared?
I expected something like that.
Yeah.
And so when it came, it was like, it's happening.
And you fucking handled it beautifully.
I published his email right away.
Yes.
Instead of even
when he said
responding to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just instantly published it and said, this is my public response to you.
Yes.
Let
That was the
everybody
most
know.
best thing you could have done.
That's how I do everything. That's why I said everyone calls me a Mason, because I'm so transparent about everything, including the one Mason in my family,
Yeah.
which they conflate into being my whole family's Masons, which is not true.
I thought that was so interesting the way he said, this is really dangerous. Dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that we didn't land on the moon. Right, okay. Dangerous. It's only dangerous for men who've sworn to hold their tongues.
Right.
And then what about the later death threat where they were talking, the Israeli accent guy singing about fucking your girlfriend in the bullet holes?
Right. That's another one.
Yeah.
Some Jewish rapper made a rap about me. And
Do you know he was Jewish, or did he just sound Jewish?
he just sounds it. And
Yeah,
it seems
sounds like an Israeli.
Yeah.
Actually has the same accent as the bombers on the flight from 9/11.
I don't even remember the whole video now, but I do remember that about killing my girlfriend and then fucking her in her bullet holes.
It was horrible to watch that. It made me realize, like, it's just so horrible that people think they can control you with the fear and the chance that they could be psychotic enough to actually come and kill or whatever. It's a horrible thought, even though 90% of you guys, look, they're just all talk. But it's still a horrible thing to have to go through, and it's to avoid this stuff is the reason why most people don't go into the truth. They just don't want to be on anyone's radar.
At one level, of course, they just don't want the ego trip of having to be the ridiculed flat earther that all their friends make jokes about.
Yeah,
but
that's
at an
definitely
even deeper level
there's
than that.
fear.
They're afraid because they know how big
The world
these
works.
groups are, these organizations, and how scary it would be if it was true.
If they were
And if it is
against you,
true.
yeah.
So
But so, how come you got through it? Like, can you tell people it's not that bad? Look, all it is people's bluff, really. I mean,
like I said,
generally,
I'm the canary in the flat Earth coal mine.
Yeah.
If they were going to kill somebody in this movement, it's me.
Yeah.
And so far, all they've done to me is threats and
you.
bribes.
Yeah.
They haven't physically.
If they killed you,
Well,
it would
they may have
strengthen
tried, but
your
I'm
message.
quite-
I hate to say it, but it really would.
Oh, right, well, that's why I put that
You
in that
become a
song.
pariah. I mean, whatever it's called, you become a hero. It might take 10 years, but I don't think they have the energy to do it.
I think
of
it's
it in
effective. I don't think it's the most effective way to.
It would draw so much attention to your message.
Yeah, so people shouldn't be afraid.
But isn't it amazing that they can just say mean and tough things, and that's enough to make most people go, ooh, oh, I don't go there, no, I don't listen to that kind of stuff. So obviously that you've been through a few of those, and you're like, well, that's okay. Now I know what that's like. That's not too bad. It's like facing down the threats one by one, and each one that goes past, it's like another level in the video game. Sort of going, wow, that was imaginary too, because everything's our spiritual, imaginary, or real, but hurdles, and they're only reflecting our inner fear or doubt, and I think it's noble to be able to go forth doing what you're doing regardless of the consequences. But it's really nice for people to know that there may not even be consequences, And if there's no consequences for you, if they can't get to you, they're not going to worry about any of the rest of us. Or maybe they are, but I'm prepared to die for it anyway. Like, I'd rather die for truth than live a lie.
Yeah.
And I know we're all eternal. And I know that you can't really control when you live or die anyway. Breath is not up to you. Heartbeats are not up to you. You can try and elongate it with good exercise and food and stuff, but even still, it's out of our hands.
Words of wisdom.
Let it be. Does it feel like the worst is over? The hardest part is over?
Too soon to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nothing like this has ever happened before.
No.
How bad is it going to have to get before it gets good?
Yeah.
I
And with
don't see
still
it as a
such early
short-term thing.
days, yeah.
I feel like, for sure, my entire life there will still be
Majority of the
evils
world
that need, and lies that need exposing, and evils that need exposing,
light
turning
on
over,
them.
shedding light on them. So I never fool myself into thinking there's some end date on this mission of mine.
What about what
It's a
would
lifetime
satisfy you?
Well, I'm already quite satisfied.
Yeah,
Three-
good. You should be.
3 years of flat earthing and the
You're
world
doing
is really
amazing.
getting there. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's more than just flat earth that needs to be done. Like my one video that was censored and I can't even re-upload it. Someone else had a chance to re-upload it on YouTube. Was globalism equals Freemasonry equals Judaism.
Yes, I love that.
And I made that video because I find it to be a super important
It's 4
point
minutes or
that-
something, really
yeah, it's only
fast.
6 minutes.
Yeah.
And what it does is it shows succinctly that the globe from its inception, it came from Freemasons. Right up
Who were
until
the
today,
the
from
goy
Pythagoras
tools of the
to
Jews.
Galileo up to the NASA astronauts of
Yeah.
today, these are all Masons. And then, yeah, like you said, and then the next half of the 6-minute video is showing how Freemasonry is derived from, beholden to, and comes completely from Judaism.
Yeah.
And all the signs and symbols are the same and
Yeah.
everything. So,
And it's a way to corral the non-Jewish people to work for the Jewish people.
well, most people don't even realize that the Jewish religion says that all non-Jews are cattle. They call the non-Jews goyim, which means cattle, and
Yeah.
the women are called shiksas, which means whores. So non-Jewish men and women are cattles and whores, which they say once they have their Jew world order, their Zionist world state, they'll each get 2,800 slaves, goyim slaves. So this is the kind of belief system that they're working under, where they think there's a 2-tier humanity, and they're on the top, and everyone else is below
Yeah.
them. And they even say that we're like animals, but God gave us a human form so that we would better serve the Jews.
Yeah.
That's in their
Because
belief.
they just can't get a cat or a dog to...
We don't have the thumbs, the opposable thumbs. So what I was going to say is what's really important and what's not happening is that the globe lie needs to be tied to Judaism, where it comes from.
Yeah.
Mostly people are running NASA under the bus, which is okay, but
Yeah.
they could close NASA tomorrow, and
Yeah.
then where has the Flat Earth movement gotten us?
Yeah.
So they need to make the connection from NASA to Freemasonry, so that we know that the Freemasons are the ones that are
Yeah.
involved in this, and that's where we need to look.
And you really
and then
did
deeper
do
than
that,
that, we need
yeah.
to see where did Freemasonry come from, so that we see the religious aspect of this,
Yeah.
the Jewish supremacist aspect of
Yeah.
it, where this came from in the first place. And that's the bigger battle. That's the
Yeah.
battle that's bigger than Flat Earth.
Because of the anti-Semitic wall that comes
Because
up
of
in everyone's
because of the
face.
stigma,
Yeah.
as well as because this is the actual who behind
Yes.
the what.
Yes, and then once you know, and if you were to expose that as well as the person who taught you, then you're becoming a target, or you think you are. Yeah. But many targets, they can't be hit, you know? If you have enough targets, they can't get us all. That's why I started to listen and follow David Icke, because I thought, this guy's so brave. He's speaking out about the world leaders and, you know, their child sex crimes and stuff, and he's going to be killed. And if some of us stand up under him and help him, then we take the heat off and spread the target. That's how much I really loved him at the start, you know. I knew that you're not the same, but you're still helping, you know. So I think there's a lot of people now with that kind of urge to help. And they're showing it by, since your channel got down, it's made me realize there's hundreds of really reputable, good people just with video channels who are like, fuck that happening to Eric. I'm going to put, and good on them. Yeah, I'm so happy to see that. But still, like, they really harmed you. They took away all your comments for years, all the arguments you've had online, all of the times you've donated your time to respond publicly and personally to people, to therefore make yourself more accessible. They ripped all that from you. And that makes me very angry still, and it must have made you pretty angry, but you handled it well.
Facebook's done it to me.
Yeah,
My entire
several
forum
times.
has been deleted.
Yeah.
So
IFAS has been deleted. When was that? A few years ago?
New Year's 2016.
Wow. I remember now, yeah. And what was the excuse for that?
Same one. The
Hate speech.
Adolf Hitler versus the Jew World Order
And
video.
what is the platform of...
Racism, anti-Semitism, hate speech.
But I mean, what's IFAS on that somebody can take it off? What?
That's a forum server.
So it's just a forum server, and they're not. They called you anti-Semitic, or they really control everything, don't they? Forum servers. You can't even have a forum. Unbelievable. Have you ever heard of Mike Trafficant?
Yeah.
He's amazing. I didn't know anything about him, so I might be taking him out of context. But last night I heard.
He's in that documentary that
Is he?
keeps getting censored. He's in it.
Which one? Oh,
Adolf
the
Hitler
Jew World
versus
Order.
Jew.
Yeah, right. Maybe that's where I first heard him. But last night I saw just a 5-minute clip in through something.
Isn't it James? Is it Michael
James?
James?
Maybe it's James. I don't know. I couldn't even remember Trafficant until just then. But he was a powerhouse. I think he's got kicked out of politics.
He was
or
in
something.
prison. That interview that I put it in was when he just got out of jail.
Right.
And there he is.
What do you think of Brendan
putting himself
O'Connell?
back in there.
Yeah.
For more.
Yeah. But
speech.
he was fast, direct to the point, and clear as.
Great speaker.
Yeah. But funny toupee. I don't know.
Toupee.
I think he has a really bad toupee, or in some clip he looked like he did. But I didn't care because what was coming out of his mouth was just damning. It was great. I just thought, holy shit, we don't ever get people speaking out like this. Because Australia is just as frustrating as America for watching the Jewish control of our government and everything else. Have you heard of Brendan O'Connell? He's a, I don't know, I think he may be some kind of controlled opposition. Like, I think they set up these, like Ken O'Keefe, Max Egan. I think they act like they're fighting on the side of the common people against the Jewish Power League, but actually they're employed by them, right? And they're controlled opposition. I think Max may be as well now since that bash up incident, and probably has been before that as well. I also get the feeling Max is in some kind of group or society of secrets. But Ken as well. I can't remember. I forgot what I was saying.
Have you seen the thread we have on Max Egan?
Maybe.
Because I used to be a fan.
Oh
of Max,
yeah, I read it years ago. You were so polite to him.
Right, wasn't it? I was being
for so
super
long.
polite.
Even to the end.
Yeah, right to the end.
You still said, I really like you, Max. I'm on your side.
Right, so even after being that polite to him, he was swearing.
He was irritated that he couldn't control you.
Yeah.
And it's just like Joe Rogan lost his mind at Eddie.
Yeah.
Do you think all those 100,000 scientists are wrong? Mm-hmm. That Max got to that point with you in that discussion, and right to the last comment, I do remember reading it a couple of years ago, you were like, Max, on your side, I've always promoted your work. I just think this is something you need to view the evidence for yourself and make a decision. And that was like 2-3 years ago. Max has still done nothing.
Exactly. No, he's doubled out. Now he's like a globe Earth proponent.
Is he?
Yeah,
oh, well.
He took that flight that nobody else in the world has ever been able to take and made it.
But strangely, he did say his compass did strange things or pointed off.
And he didn't actually film the whole thing. He filmed like 10 minutes or something.
He didn't even film it to show where he landed or anything.
You need an unedited 12-hour footage if you're going to prove it. A 10-minute compilation video that claims that that's no better than what we had anyway. So,
I
so
got
to me,
in
that
big
looks
trouble.
like a controlled opposition
I got in
stunt
big
to try
trouble with Max
Yeah.
because I saw this guy called Rolling Thunder 42 on YouTube. He was making a video showing the difficulty of the flight paths in the southern hemisphere long flights. And he was calling out Max, saying that Max had faked it or whatever. And then I'm sure you've seen this video. It shows Australia on a news conference, on the TV news in Australia. John Travolta came out to Australia to celebrate with an airline company a non-stop flight from Australia to Santiago, Chile. And they had dancers in the airport, and they had all this stuff. And there's one point where they're showing Max Egan, and then there's one point someone says, "G'day, John," to John Travolta, and it sounds exactly like Max Egan. Mm-hmm. It sounds exactly like him, but you don't see who's saying hello. But Max Egan's involved with the clip for some reason. I can't even remember why. And I said to Max, "Why were you on that clip?" And he was like, "That wasn't me, fucking idiot." And he got really mad at me for being wrong and whatever. And that pretty much ended our friendship. We didn't have a friendship, but I interviewed him once, and then I didn't lose it, but I couldn't work out. I did something wrong with the camera, and I could never get it onto the video, onto the YouTube. Still sounds so retarded. And I think he sort of was a bit pissed off with me about that. But I didn't have the feeling that I wanted him to be in my repertoire of interviews. After being ripped off by David Icke and Ken O'Keefe, I was kind of getting careful. And just watching Max still hanging with those same crew, it's who they hang with, isn't it? They're all fucking intertwined and they're on the same team, like
It's one of the main ways to tell. The potatoes, we call them the potato crew or whatever.
Yeah.
They all go on that show and they all hang around each other, defend each other, they're in each other's comment sections.
Yeah.
And they're not
In
hanging out with the genuine people.
Yeah. They
And
never
the
go
genuine
on
people
Gel's show.
yeah,
Like
right,
Gel's
they never
got this open platform. Anyone
Why
who
aren't
knows
they on
Flat
there?
Earth should
I've been on
be
there a couple
supporting
times.
their.
I don't like
going on,
interviews
yeah.
anyway. I don't really like being on camera, so. But I mean, Del's show is so good that there's no way I wasn't going to go on there and
You
get my
have to
support.
uphold him, yeah.
Yeah, but these guys don't.
I
They
know.
just support their own potatoes,
know.
their own crew.
And it's also interesting to me, like the ones who do and don't look you up, do and don't want to connect with you. Like somebody like Einar sort of did, but not in a way that he wanted to learn anything, in a way that he wanted to like get you to come somewhere.
Yeah.
Let's go to Antarctica, Eric, you, me and Jake the asshole, and let's see who wins. You know, it wodd be like a death toll. Yeah, it really depresses me that people wittingly sell out. For a long time I thought someone like David Icke, he doesn't know he's being used, but towards the end, when he got kicked off his own channel and he still didn't have anything to say about it, I realised he's not the one in power here. He's got no energy of his own, really. My friends I had two friends, one friend in England and one friend from Australia, just happened to be in London for my last show at the People's Voice. And Jed, one of my English friends, she came into the office one day with me just to see what it was like inside the People's Voice. And David Icke came in that day, and it was like in my last week when I'd been kicked out and everything. And she's like, David's face was red and he was giving me the evil eye. He would come in and be like this. And his son's like Gareth, he loved me. He had me on his comedy show. His other son, Jamie, really cutie. Him and I used to hug every day. We had a really nice relationship. Both the sons stopped talking to him. He wouldn't hug me, and I knew there's something wrong here. I'm really considered poison around this place. They were so scared of what I was going to say. I didn't say any of it. I even filmed my last show without slagging off the station, and whereas I could have, because they were kicking me out, you know. Well, it wasn't live, so they would have edited it out. Yeah, but I could have been saying stuff on YouTube, on Facebook. I could have been slagging it off, and I didn't for a long time. It took me 6 months to even write about the experience, because I was just scared. I think I really was. I felt like these people are so dark and evil and controlling, and I don't even want to fight them, you know. But the last day David came in, his face was just evil, and my friend Jed goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe David Icke is like that." She said, "I thought he was a cuddly, nice old man." And she said, "He just looked like he had snakes coming out his ears." And then my friend from Australia actually came for this taping of the last show, and they were so... I used to tape my show on Sunday night or something. I'd have the whole place to myself after 8 o'clock at night, just me and my crew of about 6 or 8 people. Nobody was in the office. We had free run of the place. I lived downstairs in the car park, so it was like my own house, you know. And they used to give me I had the key to the People's Voice, so I could go up there any time of day or night if I wanted. They were really trusting of me at the start, and then at the end they had the woman who used to work at BBC, who came in to be the accountant, who oversaw the $2 million getting lost. Her name was Lizard. She on the last night, she came in and they were like so scared that I was going to do something. And my friend from Australia was like, "Holy shit, Elissa, like, these people are really threatened by you." And I was like, "Yeah, they are, aren't they? Isn't that weird? Like, I'm 50 kilos, what am I going to do? What am I going to say?" Like, they've got power over the editing. But she was like, "This has been really traumatic for you, hasn't it? Like living downstairs in the van for 6 months. The show started after about 4 months. There was one good month, and then the last month it was just tiptoeing around being scared of who I was pissing off." Anyway. I also noticed at the very start of Max's release of his first few videos that they were just like ripped straight from David Icke's books, which is fair enough. There weren't many other places or many other sources to get a lot of that information. But Max's videos were so professional. Like, you know, ones like The Awakening. He did 3 or 4 videos that were great in about 2005, 2006, maybe 87. But I did think, how's this old guy living in a shed with chickens going about making these incredible documentaries? And Max at one stage said, you know, I had somebody approach me to make these documentaries. I heard him say that on an interview somewhere, I can't remember where. Sure, I didn't make it up, I'm sure I didn't. But then years later, when I wanted to clear stuff up with Max, I wrote to him and I said, so who helped you make your... And he's like, no one's ever helped me, I've always done everything all on my own. And I'm like, right. So you're a 60-something-year-old man, tech challenged like me, like even to make a Skype call wasn't easy, but yet you've cobbled together these videos so easily. Really good videos, you know. And so that always made me sus. And then when you're sus on someone, they don't like you, and that's fair enough. But just someone the other day on my Facebook was like, hey, have you heard of Max Egan? To someone else, another one of my friends. Have you heard of Max Egan? He's really great. And I had to pipe up, little Elissa there. Yeah, no, Max is controlled opposition. Step away from Max Egan. And one of the guys, actually, I think his name is Patrick Simpson. He sent me a private message saying, why do you think Max is controlled opposition? I said, well, you know, I have a few hours of written stuff that I should cobble together in a video to expose my evidence. But really, I'm not asking you to believe me, I'm just telling you to keep your eyes open and watch the way they walk their talk. And I said, Max has not addressed this reappraisal of science that's going on with respect. He does not know how to sit at seaside and measure for curvature. That just writes everyone off for me. Either they're worried about keeping up their donations, but it's more than that with Max, for sure. And then what about Max's crazy little inclusion in the latest Joy Camp video? Like, was that necessary? Joy Camp just did a video. Let me try and remember what it was about. I can't remember any of it because all I remember is how mad I was that Max Egan was in the middle of it.
I remember
coming on the radio.
Yeah.
But there's something about the globe as well. Why am I thinking it had some global...
I might have.
There's something where Max either says or they showed a globe in the clip or something, and I got right up them. I was like, Benny, this is no good. You know, you haven't done any good work since way back then. And he got really offended. And I didn't mean to offend him, but I did want to point out your stuff hasn't had the same power that it did have back when you were doing that Sandy Hook.
That was the best one.
That was unreal. The Oscars.
The Oscar one, yeah.
Oscars for crisis acting. That was awesome shit. And then they sort of diluted themselves because they realised, oh, we're not going to get anywhere in life if we say too much stuff we're not allowed to say.
Einer syndrome. I think that they're similar because Benny and what's the other guy's name?
Kevin,
Benny and Kevin, they're also in LA. Einer was going to America. And they all three of them have dreams of being actors.
Who's Anna?
Einer.
Einar Kusk, right, yeah.
These Joy Camp and Einer are
it
similar
doesn't fit in
the
with
sense
their
that they're
personal
trying to be
dreams.
Both conspiracy exposers, but also mainstream actors.
I know, what's the
You
fucking...
can't do both.
No,
you have to
you
choose.
can't. I realised that a long time
Both of them
ago.
seem to be trying as hard as they can to straddle the line.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid that both of them are going to fall to the other side.
Your bosses are going to be your enemies
course,
whenever
so
you
how
get
can you do
anywhere.
that?
That's
The
why.
further down the road you go, the more the split comes, and you.
That's why I've quit the whole industry and I've lost all my ambition and don't ever even want it for any of it anymore. I used to be ambitious when I was young, and I did have talent that I could have moulded into something really great. And I think I'm still going to do stand-up comedy. I think when I'm 60, 70, 80, I might be doing stand-up, and I'll be fucking dropping awesome truth bombs because I'll be doing it on my own. This stuff is actually helping me to prepare the character that one day is going to come and slaughter that whole industry, because you can't touch me with any threats of we won't let you go up here or here or here. Like, you've advanced yourself on your own. You haven't had what Joe Rogan's had. You haven't had a guy in the next room, Jamie, helping you do all the stuff. You haven't had Neil deGrasse Tyson agree to come on your show. You haven't had any promotion. You haven't had all the stuff that these guys have. But look where you are. And that's what I know is going to be for me too. Like, I can't visibly see the support that I have in numbers, but I can feel it. And the support that I do have is from genuine people who know I'm genuine, and that's fucking awesome. Because I'm like, I'm impressed that I'm even still a genuine person at this age. So the fact that other people notice that and can spot it is all I live for, really. But I don't think it means I can't ever be successful. I think I just have to do it on my own terms, maybe not in Hollywood, maybe not even in Australia, but in other countries, you know, I think it's possible.
Absolutely. Success isn't analogous with television.
No. If you've been at Flat Earth long enough to know it's flat, you should know the potatoes to steer clear of Patricia Steer.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't, you haven't been paying attention to anyone in the community. Mark Sargent, oh my God, like, why would you associate yourself with that guy? He's the most repulsive.
People think that if you say you're a flat earther and you're on camera talking about flat earth, you must be good. It must be a positive thing.
Yeah, no.
And when you tell them, come on, there's a 500-year deception going on that's being exposed, you really think that they're not going to send fake flat earthers in to delegitimize and co-opt the movement?
Yeah.
Everybody I say that to, they disappear from the comment section because they leave some big comment about how I'm divisive and dividing the movement and I'm picking on whoever. And then I say something like that, like, you seriously don't think there's that? Because they'll even say that. They're like, Patricia's a fellow flat earther, Mark is a fellow flat earther. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You know.
You're picking on one of our own. Even Max Egan goes into stuff like that.
Right. But the fact of the matter is,
they're dividing the truth community.
Of course there's going
We
to
need
be
unity.
shills and controlled opposition.
Oh, it's always those ones, those shills that call for unity. Unity! You've got to have unity.
Right.
It's like, I don't want unity. I want individuality. I want everyone to bring a fresh truth every day if they want. We're not sticking tomorrow with what we knew yesterday. So fuck this unity, fuck this group mentality. And all the ones calling for unity are the fucking agents.
Yeah, either the agents or the ones that have been duped by the agents to think that that's something to strive for or possible when there are so many agents in the movement.
ผู้ชายเอาข้าว
นี่เอาความสามารถ
ให้กลับบ้านแล้วครับผม
And can he put this two together for me, please? Oh,
You're gonna take
yeah,
this home?
yeah, and that one.
Oh,
unless you
สอง
want
อันนี้
to.
เขาจะเอากลับบ้านที่เหลือผมจะเอา
Gracias. And can you say sorry? We've ordered too much.
I think I'm going to order another thing actually, so it's not too much.
Oh, good.
ก็คือ3อย่างนี้ใส่ถุงเป็นคุณผู้ชายแล้วก็2อย่างนี้ถุงเป็นผู้หญิง
ต้องครับ
Gracias.
แล้วก็
I mean,
ขอสั่งเพิ่มอีกอย่างหนึงนะเอายำใส่กรอก
ก็กลับบ้านที่นี่เดี๋ยวออกกันแล้วก็ใส่ถุงเป็นผู้ชายแล้วก็แยกถุงกัน
นี่จะพยายามกินทั้งหมด
are your parents impressed with your tie and your ability to just tough it out? Must be very hard for them with you like dominating them as you have. And you're like, no, I'm not coming home, you have to come to me. And they're like, oh, right. It's fair enough. Like if I was your parent, I would go wherever the fuck you were because it's not necessarily desirable for you to go through
I've
those.
been threatened. This is a threat that I haven't told you about. I've gotten this more than once. They, what's the word? They encourage me to come home. They say, well, why aren't you coming back, Eric? Come on home, Eric. Just once.
Yeah.
As though I get the impression, and I mean, when I've
somebody-
gone through airports,
Yeah.
especially since the books, I get pulled over every time. You know how they pull aside certain people?
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like I'm
do
on a
too.
list. Are you too?
When I went to England to do the David Icke show, I had a 5-hour interview.
Oh my God.
And they were saying they would not let me go. At one stage, the guy's like, we need to find out who you are and what you're doing here. I said, I'm a 47-year-old single woman who's been living in a tent for 2 years, and I'm on holiday in my mother country for a few months, They're like, you're going to work here? And I'm like, no. They're like, I was like, I've been on a flight for 12 hours. Can I go to the toilet? They're like, yeah, but one of us has to go with you. And then after you go to the toilet, you can go. And then after that, they'd be like, no, we need to take you back to an interrogation room. I had 3 people. The last one was like an old Freemason. And I sat down across the table from him and I told him, look, I'm a domestic terrorist in my country because I speak out about things the government has done to the people and blamed on other people. And I'm not going to stop doing that. This is all on record. It's all in my, in my computer, in my blog, in my comedy, in all the writings I've done. But I couldn't believe how that they really hassled me when I got to England, and I thought that my name is on a list, man. But then I haven't been hassled this trip at all. It's been really smooth. Like I'm a bit scared. Because especially even the stuff I've been posting lately is I'm constantly still posting about that Port Arthur massacre because it really upsets me that the guy who didn't do it has been in jail for 20 years now, 17 years. And he's like an autistic guy. He's been tortured. He started off with 3rd-degree burns to 75% of his body. It's just the saddest story. And I've always felt like it's my responsibility to help that guy because I'm one of about 15 people in the country who knows that it was a setup. Fucking people know because they just refuse. Yesterday, my Australian friend posted something about there's going to be a school walkout. All the kids in America are going to walk out of their schools on strike on the 20th of March or whatever, or February, to say, until you change the gun laws, we're not coming back to school. So America, your kids won't be educated if they don't go, Yeah. And I thought to myself, just... I don't know. It's really worrying. But I'm not scared as such. But if I was you, I would be scared to go through customs, put it that way. Not especially alone, like you need witnesses with you and people who'll wait with you if you do get pulled over. That's pretty much the only thing. The thing is, you can probably travel anywhere, and I don't think their systems are that good and they're following most people like me that much. I'm pretty sure they've got like an ankle tag on you or something. I don't know how they even follow that stuff. They probably read all your Facebook and scour all your emails and everything. Do you feel like you can't go anywhere or you just don't want to? Yeah. And do you think that could be forever, for this lifetime? Like you'd be trapped unless you go by boat or... But borders... around Asia you could probably have no worries, I would feel. But you don't know who's who and what's what.
Yeah, I think Southeast Asia here seems relatively safe.
I think you could go to Laos and Cambodia and Vietnam and there wouldn't be anyone waiting for you. But I do think if you went to America or even Europe, that there could be somebody...
Well, Europe, I'm definitely not going because I'll be the next Monica Schaefer.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be in jail.
I can't go to 18 countries now because of the things I've
publicly said.
Isn't that crazy?
Well,
just publicly stating facts.
I used to make stand-up comedy routines about Falun Gong, and I realised after that I can't go to China. So I've been like that for 20 years. Like you do cut yourself off from things by speaking about things, but I don't care. I feel like I'm not going to shut anything up for anything. But I wouldn't necessarily travel somewhere if I thought it could get me hurt or in trouble or under someone else's control or walking into their trap. Does that depress you that you can't or you don't particularly, maybe you've convinced yourself you don't really mind, or maybe it's a bit of both, or maybe you don't really mind? Destiny's the strange
somewhere
in all of those, yeah.
I really want the world not to be like this, so that's why I spend so much time in activism. I think the world is like that, so I'm cautious, but yeah, it could... I can see all three of what you just said.
Yeah.
I can see it all. I don't know. But
I think you're playing it really well, and I'm proud that somebody's doing it. Somebody's standing up despite the threat to them, and it's a wonderful time to be alive. And there was a great comment under that video, Truth center or whatever, that there was a comment maybe 3 or 4 down by a guy who said, "You're the best thing about our times right now." I hope you enjoy those little pats, because you really are going to be seen as so amazing from the future looking back. When everybody sorts the potatoes from the clay, everybody's going to be like, wow, that dude fucking did do a lot single-handedly, and had the personal fortitude and the discipline and the self-suppression and the self-martyrdom to be able to pull it off. It's really impressive. And I'm so happy you came to meet me. Thank you. Because I can finally see the world changing for the first time in 50 years. I can see growth. I can see how much I've been changed by learning so much truth. Not just the Operation Northwoods and JFK, and then the moon landings, and then the 9/11s, but the real big lies, like the flat earth. And I can see now how much life is great once we get past these lies, how much we have a sense of freedom, a true sense of freedom.
กับไส้กรอกแล้วก็3 อย่างครับ
Just signing.
ผลิตภัณฑ์ด้วยจะเอาเมนูดูไหมครับจะได้
เดี๋ยวผมหยิบ
ได้
I'm just gonna go get some of their
Yeah.
fake meats.
Good. Sure, do what you got to do. I can't wait to go and have a cigarette in the garden. Holy shit, it's been an amazing few days getting to meet Eric and see what he's really kind of like in person, and realise that he's the real deal as far as anyone could tell, coming close and spending time and having fun, having laughs. And I'm just so happy to see someone really changing the world.